Welcome to Sistah Speak, The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. I am Sistah K.
I'm Mr Brotha Taxman.
M of House McCloud.
And I'm Sistah Tam.
And welcome to episode 123. Let's get started. Welcome, welcome.
Yes.
Sistah Speak Nation. We are, first of all, can y'all believe we back? I cannot. I cannot.
I would have lost that bet.
Right. I'm so happy, though, to be back and be back with our Sistah Speak family joining me here. Before we get into this episode, I definitely want to take some time to have y'all introduce yourselves. So please start with Mr. Alex the Taxman. Give us a little bit of background about you and a little bit of how you started watching The Walking Dead and if you're still watching, and then your thoughts before this new series came out.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, that was so long ago. I think I came in late. I came in like the prison season. So that's season 2 or 3, one of those. But then I went back and watched and got caught up, and I've seen it all since then, except The World Beyond. I just didn't get good vibes from that at all. So, I saw the Dead City, and actually just finished Daryl Dixon, and yeah, so I've been watching ever since. That has to be almost 10 years. My goodness.
Yeah, it's probably more because I think it premiered in 2009 or something.
Yeah.
Prison season would have been like 2012 or something.
I don't like to go any further than 10 years. Anything that happened is 10 years ago.
Exists, right?
Tupac died 10 years ago.
Everything happened 10 years ago.
So yeah, that's the mode I'm in, because my 40th birthday is coming up, and I swear I'm getting early 40th birthday presents all the time. I had my gallbladder removed, taking Lyrica. I'm watching the news every day. Like I don't know what happened, but suddenly it just fell on me.
Turn.
Just wait.
So when you heard of this series with Rick and Michonne, were you excited? I mean, you've been watching everything, pretty much.
I am a completionist. So after 10 years of watching the show, it's like I gotta go ahead and finish up, and especially if Rick's coming back. And Michonne, want to see her in her all her glory. I have to. I might call her Okoye at some point during the show. I apologize for that. But yeah, I just had to finish up, and really, I kind of need a show because we're working from home. I gotta have a show locked in to listen to while I'm in the Zoom meeting, and I don't care what people are saying.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah. You one of them, huh?
Sometimes. Allegedly. Edit this out. I work for the government, so edit this out.
Right. I was just gonna say we're being taped right here.
Yeah, family Zoom meetings.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Marlee, same question for you.
So
introduce yourself and then let us know about if you've been watching.
Marlee, Sistah M of House McCloud. I live in Mentone, Alabama, on a mountain, which is not a very high mountain at all. So my I've loved horror films forever, and my favorite genre has always been zombie films, and that is because when they're done right, they are about the people. They're about what do people do when everything that they knew to be true is suddenly not true anymore. And to me, like, one of my favorite movies in the world is The Birds. And to me, The Birds is a zombie movie, because it's like, what are the birds doing? And nobody knows what to do. And you watch those people who have conflicts between them come together and work. And so, I started watching Walking Dead from the very beginning, and they had that 6-episode first season, and I was like, I like this. I like how they're doing, because it was very, very character-based. And it stayed character-based for like a lot of people thought season 2 was boring because there was a lot of talk. I thought it was great because really, I mean, they were on this farm and they were protected, but it was about the dynamic between everybody. The prison season, like, it felt like over the years they played to like the fanboy people, like the teenage guys that wanted to see blood and guts, and you could tell like every episode would have, and here is the zombie crushing, or here's where they're getting, there'd be something disgusting, just overly disgusting. And it started to feel like it got worse. It got worse. But I watched everything out of loyalty to Carol, because Carol, I mean, it's a wonderful time to be a middle-aged lady because there are people like Carol. There are like badass heroes who are middle-aged ladies who will shoot your ass or stab you up. And so I watched it all out of loyalty to Carol. And when they do the Book of Carol thing with Daryl Dixon, I'm here. We are doing
Sorry, Procrastinella.
I know, Procrastina's rolling over like, no!
She probably
Does
turned
she
the
hate
show
Carol?
off.
Does she hate Carol?
Viciously.
I have
Viciously.
like a shelf of action figures and bobbleheads. It's like my Carol tribute. But to me, but the reason I like her so much is because of her character arc. It's what she began as, and as a battered wife who was timid, and what she ended up as, and it felt very natural throughout the seasons. And so I watched out of loyalty
at the very beginning.
And I watched all of it, and I have just as many action figures. Actually, I think I have more of Michonne. And I have loved her arc too, and it's a little harder to see because all we saw in the series of her before was like a flashback dream sequence when they're in the apartment, which I feel like there's scenes in this that sort of fill that out a little bit. So we only knew a tiny bit about where she came from and what she was like. But we have watched her character develop from basically, I mean, she was
the hermit.
She was a hermit. She was like, a loner. And we watched her come in and be accepted and let herself be accepted. And so
let herself love too.
Right. And let herself love. And the thing that I like about this first episode is, it's back to character based. It's back to character based story. And now the walkers are kind of an aside. They're just a given. So, and I hope they keep it that way. It's like there are these annoying things that we have to kill, but there's a story here.
Right.
All right.
Yes.
I've talked enough.
We'll get to the actual episode and we can talk more about that. But yes, I agree. And then Tamara, introduce yourself. And then when did you start enjoying The Walking Dead?
My son actually told me about it after that first season. He's like, Mom, it's a new show. I think you'll like it. Just give it a chance. You like, apocalyptic stuff. So we started watching it together, and then he tapped out at season 2. He was like, that show was terrible. So he stopped watching it. He tapped out. He was like, oh, that show is terrible. I'm like, you started me watching it, and now you don't want to watch it anymore.
The next season.
So, he's like, he's done. So he hasn't watched it since, but me and my daughter then started watching it. So we've been faithfully watching since it started. And I think I'm a completionist also. I just try to watch stuff. If I start something, if I don't keep up, I'll at least go back and binge and watch it. I mean, I think I'm the only person on earth that watched all 3 seasons of The Strain. Do y'all remember that show?
I watched it. I saw all 3.
I did. I watched that. I read the books.
I didn't read the books, but I know everybody else that started watching it stopped. Everybody's like, are you still watching that? I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to finish it.
It was super gross. It was super gross.
So gross.
I watched all of it.
You had to be a real trooper for season 3.
Yeah,
Those
that season 3,
tongues.
it was kind of torture, but I like in this show it can be, and I even watched Fear. So I'm behind this season on Fear, so I'm gonna have to binge that one time when I don't have anything to do. But yeah, I watch them faithfully, and I just like TV. I'll watch anything. If it's something, I'll watch it. If you can give me at least 3 seasons, I'll binge it. Like, so I'm just a TV watcher. I love it.
Me too.
Well, thank you all for joining. And as y'all know, it's been a while. It's been since midway through season 10 for me. I started watching from episode 1, season 1, and I fell in love with it just like in the first minute. I was like, yes, this is my kind of show. And it didn't hurt that John Barenthal was on it. And
I hated
Andrew Lincoln. Oh, I like me some Shine though, but he was bad, but I like me some Shine. Anyway, so all of those reasons that we loved it, and then it just started getting a little bit away, like you said, from the characters for me. And then they had characters doing things that I didn't think they would do. It's like whoever was writing forgot who they wrote seasons previous and who the characters were. And out of this, if y'all ever listen and go back to some of our old episodes, you'll see we have 4 or 5 trick hoes in it. We have several. And one thing we talked about a lot back in the day, me and Sistah J, about the black men that they had on the show. They just did not treat those characters well. And what they did and demasculated those characters, didn't like that. But as that was later in the seasons, and so for all of those reasons, and then all of a sudden we couldn't kill anybody anymore. We had umpteen million people at Alexandria and umpteen million people at all these other places, and nobody could die.
Right.
I remember you had a bloodlust. I forgot about that.
Well, I need to kill 95% of these damn characters.
95.
Well, and then they did. And then they did. There was like a whole row of heads on stakes. They took out Tara.
That was like
those were people we didn't. They should have killed at least 1,000 more from them.
Those were red shirts.
Those were just. And they kept bringing us back people, like bringing random people that, y'all was doing way too much. So I just couldn't stomach it anymore because I was just basically watching at that point. But don't know what it was. I saw an interview with Denai Guerrera, Andrew Lincoln, and I was instantly like, oh, hell. Why did I watch this shit? Oh, they got me. They got me. So I was like, I have to watch this one at the very least. So I have not watched the rest of. I haven't went back to binge The Walking Dead. I haven't seen any of the spinoffs. I tried to watch Fear the Walking Dead. I think I watched for 2 seasons and then I stopped. I tried to watch that. What was the one you said, Alex, that you didn't watch? The Forever
World Beyond.
Yes, with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried that and couldn't do it too.
I hate kids, so no.
Basically, yes.
I want them all to get killed. Anytime, if a kid is going to be the star of the show, I'm not watching it. I just hate kids. I want them all dead. That's why I didn't watch the Daryl Dixon. The minute Daryl was going to be revolving around some kid, I was like, oh, I'm not watching that shit.
I can relate.
I'm like, Carol, look at the flowers, Carol.
Oh man, I forgot about the number of kids Carol killed.
Carol got a lot of bodies. Carol dropped a lot of bodies.
A lot of little bodies.
She did. She did.
Oh, down memory lane. But we all have that one character, that one thing that happened in the series that really pulled us away. And for me, like number one, like you said, Sistah K, like particularly, what's the guy's name with the beard, the big guy? Tyrese, yes. It was very confusing to me because in the comic books, he was a major character. Like he's a secondhand man to Rick. And then the next secondhand man to Rick was Abraham. And they killed him way too soon.
I liked Abraham.
I did too.
I loved that was my hill to die on.
Yeah.
That was the
I love
Tyrese.
Yeah. I love Tyrese. And he got a great going out episode. His episode going out was fabulous.
I liked Tyrese until the prison,
where he didn't want to kill no more.
And he fell in love with this random ass woman we never saw before.
And
in
Carol
one
killed
episode,
her.
and then she was in love with her, and then we heard about her as the whole rest of the time he was alive. Like, who was she?
Karen,
And how did
her name was
her?
Karen, wasn't it? And
Karen.
Oh, wow,
Carol
yeah.
killed her.
Oh, wow.
Carol killed her.
Right,
and
because she got the fucking flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her and that other woman. No, it was her and this other guy, and they were just burnt over on the side somewhere, crispy. And everybody's like, "What the hell happened?" And then Rick, that's why he banished Carol from the prison.
Right.
On a killing spree. He was like a serial killer.
She was.
But she came. It was a good setup for her to come. The way she came back, though, at the beginning of season 5.
I forgot about that. I forgot how good this show used to be.
Okay.
It's like there are episodes like the episodes with Lizzie and Look at the Flowers. That is probably the best episode of the whole show to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it can be so good, but that got fewer and more far between and all that.
Yeah.
Well, and I wonder too, is back then, that was when they were doing like 20 episode seasons. Like the seasons were so long. They had to fit
they were too long.
so much stuff into a season. And now, of course, we're lucky to get 10 episodes on some things.
They would break them up, wouldn't they? It would be like 7 and
like
7.
after Halloween, they come back.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I feel like they just lost some of the or
it got too big. It's like it felt more like the comic. I never read the comics, but it felt like a comic book world more and more as we started expanding, and it's like Alexandria and the Hilltop and the Oceanside ladies or whatever, and this like all these, and it did start to feel it's like, and there's a character named Jesus, and it was so funny. It's like, Jesus, would you help me with this?
And then all the travel, they travel so far. Like I can't get to the north side of Houston without my GPS. And they're going state to state, going to the ocean, going to the beach, going to the mountains, going to the forest. I'm like,
going to France.
I can't get it. Yeah.
the first 3 or 4 seasons, when they were still in Georgia made sense because I'm from Alabama. I live almost in Georgia, and the area they would have been in, it makes sense that they would be driving around and around and around. Because you don't measure distance around here. It's like, how far away is so-and-so? And it's like, well, it's about 45 minutes, but it's because you can't, everything is so windy. So it made perfect sense that they would be wandering around Georgia and not find that prison that was right there and then I guess when they took off for Virginia or where I mean, that's where they ended up. That's,
or whatever that was.
Yeah, that's when things got weird. And then boom, it was 8 years later.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Time jump.
Yeah, they needed a time jump.
Yeah.
But I'll say this though, once they got Angela Kang in as a showrunner, I will say it did pick back up in the last 2 seasons. The Whispers was cool. Like I thought it was well done. There was a few things they probably could have tweaked. Like I wanted to hear a little bit more about Beta, but it was pretty much the alpha show. But I like how it ended. And then the last one, that last episode with Rick, like that was done really well. Like that was pretty much like they were saying, we're definitely going to come back to it. So we got to make it real good. And that's where this show started from. So
it was all I could do to watch when Alpha was in the show because that accent, I was like, she sounds like Blanche Dubois from, Streetcar Named Desire. It's like, why do you have to talk that way? I like the concept, all of that, the Whispers, the concept, but it was like, why? Why? Because it's not a real, I'm picky about Southern accents and stuff. And I was like, that's not real. Where are you like?
Some people have different, even in the same city, some people have different accents.
Yeah.
That's kind of like South Carolina, like Charleston.
It is. My family, my whole family's from South Carolina, and it is kind of like Charleston, and it's a pretty rare accent. So if that's where she was from, fine. But she got like on my last nerve. The show almost lost me with her.
They just extended her too long. I feel like they were just too long, and they didn't deliver.
No, and then Beta was like
of killing 95% of the people that should have been killed.
So, yeah, Beto was supposed to have been some country music star in the past. There's like one episode where it's like, what?
Right before they
I
killed him.
don't even know why they told us
Now,
that.
I think that was kind of interesting.
I did too.
I do
Yeah.
like
I thought that was
backstories. I do like
Because-
backstories.
I mean, even though it was an unknown country western
Mhm.
star. I thought that was kind of interesting and plausible. Like that could happen. That somebody famous would be walking around.
Oh, yeah.
there trying to and maybe survive.
It's just
They were in
math.
the right
There would be some
crowds.
famous
Yeah.
people who live.
Mhm.
And especially with country music performers, like especially the male performers, like every other song is about something sad and depressing. So it's like, okay, yeah, sad, depressing, zombie apocalypse. I'm going to be a serial killer now. That makes sense to me. I feel like.
And work for a woman. I'm going to work for.
Right.
I'm going to be her serial killer. That's
But,
what I'm going to be.
I actually forgot they had the little. It wasn't like an actual show, but they did like a series. I forget what it was called, but they did a couple of Walking Dead universe stories. And each episode had like a celebrity person to come in. And so they kind of followed them a bit. Like the first episode was like Terry Crews and Olivia Munn. And then after that, man, there was a couple of others, but I forget their names. But one went into the backstory of Alpha. And like they were on she was basically the exact opposite of Carol. Like she was a jerk from the beginning. Like and it kind of insinuated that she was probably the one that abused her husband, but she kept her kids alive. No kids died around her, but everybody thought she was crazy, and they always pushed her away. And then she was just sick of it, and ended up doing what she had to do to protect her daughter, and she did.
Until she didn't. Until she was like,
until she didn't.
Right.
She took it a little too far. But those were actually interesting though. That was pretty quick. It was like 4 or 5 episodes. That'd be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It would be fun to go back and see.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're back with the Rick and Michonne reunion show, I like to call it. Do y'all want to jump into this episode, Years?
Yeah, let's jump in.
Yeah. This
First of all, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but the cinematography, how it even started, kind of with a dark screen and Rick saying "I tried" and his little monologue. I like that.
I did too.
I like that.
I liked they had the recap at the beginning that made sure they showed you every single person who's relevant and you might see. And we see, and Jadis or Ann or whatever her name is, I always want to call her Marjorie the Trash Heap. Y'all remember Fraggle Rock, Marjorie the Trash Heap? That's who she is to me. And Marjorie the Trash Heap is saying, "I've got a bee," and we're still wondering what the hell is a bee.
Right.
So, and we get to find out. But the recap, but at what you're talking about, the cinematography, when they first started shooting The Walking Dead, they shot it on 16 millimeter film. And that's why it had kind of a gritty look to it. And it feels like the overall look of this is closer to that. And I appreciate that about it.
Gritty and real, like you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put a lot of emphasis into the effects and all. I don't know if you want to go to it scene by scene, but I just like the walker that Rick used to fix his hand. Like, that looks so cool. I'm not sure what they did there. And then they showed it was still alive. Like, oh, it's dope.
Burning from the inside too.
Yeah.
Like they were all burning from the inside.
Right. I'm not sure why. I was interested to hear that.
Right? Because I'm wondering, I mean, to me, it looked like they were coming through like a forest fire or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But that one in particular that you're talking about, it looked like he was burning from the inside. Or that was Rick's hallucination-ish at that point because he's kind of delirious.
I don't know. Yeah. Like, the very first scene is now, present day. Yeah. And he's in his apartment with a piece of glass and he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then on the TV, you're hearing about they don't tell you it's Omaha at the time, but you're hearing about the fall of Omaha.
Yeah.
And I dig that the TV is like an old analog black and white one, because I love it when the technology makes sense. It makes sense that they would find analog, TV is digital now and it's a different type of signal, but like I loved it. It was perfect. It was perfect. And that's then we get the 5 years after the bridge.
Yeah.
That's when and it kind of makes you feel like, okay, wait, when was what just happened? But okay, so it's 5 years after the bridge. Yeah.
Did that confuse anybody else at first? I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me switch my brain a little bit and make sure I understand.
So is the fall of Omaha 5 years before, the fall of Omaha is current?
Is current because it kind of there's a matching at the end. We get back to the present, and everything that happens in between has been kind of a flashback just to tell the story. It's basically Rick talking the story a lot.
Yeah. Writing it out to Michonne.
He's writing to Michonne.
And their little thing with Rick on a leash. I'm like, what is this? They got Rick on a leash.
Because he tried to escape.
Tell him he can't go. Just say you can't play no more. Like, I'm not putting you on no leash. You can't play no more. Like, go on and get it over with. But yeah, they got him on a leash. And then how does it work if you're going through trees in the forest and you want?
That's what I was wondering.
If you ever walk that dog and the leash is longer than 10 feet, that don't work.
I liked how they kept cutting back to the leash running out. It's like, spinning.
I'm thinking, well, if you're going to have his ass on a leash, dude, you need to be up behind his ass then.
Right,
because we're right. Because he could circle a tree, get caught up, and then he's stuck, get ate up,
Shit, I ain't going out there. There's walkers out there. On fire too?
I mean,
it was not thought out.
The reason he's on a leash is because he is valuable doing his job. Right. I mean, he's like a killing machine. How many times have we seen Rick grunting and stabbing and then ending up with a sweaty, bloody face? That's what we do.
I know. And see, I was thinking like the Rick I knew would have killed that man, cut his damn waist off, and took off running with the leash.
Right.
Like before he cut his own damn hand off. Like he would have been dragging a torso through the woods.
But it was great.
But it makes sense because there were so many other, we find out later, so many other soldiers there that would have. Yeah. And this was his, third attempt?
This was his fourth
attempt. Yeah. So that was like his last, obviously, resort. But I'm thinking, how did he think he would have the strength to cut his damn hand off and keep running?
Rick has cut somebody's leg off before. He cut that kid's leg off. Yeah.
Leave a trail of blood.
But I mean, Merle cut his own hand off and cauterized it in the same way. I mean, basically, he didn't use a walker to do it. Merle cut his hand off with a saw.
Yeah.
And Rick cut off Herschel's leg.
Well, but this is different. This is different because Rick is trying to escape. He's tried to escape 3 other times. He didn't make it. They caught his ass.
They're on his tail. They're right there.
Right.
Why did he think him cutting his hand off, dealing with the blood loss and the shock of that he'd still be able to run quick enough to get away from all them fools that would be chasing him and still be coherent enough to make it and not get ate up? I mean, his
face. They should have showed him at least try to chop the cord. Show us that you can't cut that cord. It is kryptonite, and you can't cut it. Show us that.
I think Rick is not our Rick anymore, and we find out more about the situation later. But he's really not.
In his right.
He's not in his right mind. I mean, he's not crazy, but he's not clear-headed.
That's what I was going to say. It's interesting. I was actually listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger's audiobook, Be Useful. And the main point of that is that for a lot of people who have no direction in their lives or kind of meandering or whatever, the reason for that is that they have no goal that they're trying to work towards. So everything can be, this choice or this choice. It doesn't matter because you don't really have a goal you're trying to get to. And so with Rick, I feel like his goal was to protect the people that he cared about. And if he's so far away from these people, so disconnected after so many years, it's like he's kind of meandering with no goal there.
And he has one by the end of this episode.
Right.
He has a new goal.
Right. He got reinvigorated by that.
He's going to save the world. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Never accomplish it.
Right. Right.
Which was new for him.
It was new
for him, because we've seen him all these years being able to protect, as much as he could, protect his family, protect the people that he's trying to, save within reason. But this time he's just like, he's caught, he's stuck.
Yeah.
And stuck idle too. Like he's idle. I think that's another thing about his mental state is he's not in charge. He's not helping.
Right.
He's helping with this consignee, whatever.
He's a B. He's a B.
Right. Which
that's what they do. Rick is an A. But that comes up later. But he is, he's a B. We already know that because Marjorie the Trashy said that he's a B.
Right.
But that's not him.
Right. While we're on that topic, I guess we can wait till we get to that. But we need to talk about that too. Like, why did she say that? I feel like it was purposeful.
Yeah, it was purposeful. I think so. Definitely. She lied.
Definitely. So Rick then, after he cuts his arm off and cauterizes it, passes out, and we get all those flashes. Really quick flashes. And then we get his dream escape with...
And this Michonne is the Michonne that I see in the dreams, like her backstory in the series, because she always struck me from that little bit. It's like Michonne was successful. She had a boyfriend, a child, a pretty apartment. I always thought of her as like a fashion model or something, and this Michonne that we're seeing fits in with what I kind of thought about where she came from. You know what I mean? Like, that's because you see in the dreams in the series where they live and they're talking about going to an art exhibit and all that kind of stuff.
She was an artist, wasn't she?
She was a lawyer.
Was she a lawyer?
Yeah, she was a lawyer.
Andrea was a lawyer.
Yeah. And you remember she came in with Andrea. So if I remember correctly, they knew each other before things happened, or shortly before things happened. I know she was a lawyer. I gotta look that up.
No, I think she was an art dealer or an artist or something, because her work was in the gallery, right? Or
I'm not sure, but she and Andrea was there from the very beginning, and Michonne didn't show up until the very last scene of season 2. They didn't, and then she saves Andrea, and that's how
her and Andrea did hook up, and she helped keep Andrea alive.
Right.
That's what it was.
Because Andrea was the only one left at the farm when it was burning down, and she ran through the woods all night long, and Michonne saved her.
I had to look this up.
Anybody else noticed that how in the dream sequence, like his kids ain't nowhere in the dream. Like he ain't thinking about them kids. He ain't thinking about little Judith.
Hello.
Fuck them kids.
He's just like me. He don't like kids in his apocalypse either.
They're inconvenient.
Carol is his favorite too.
Yeah, they are inconvenient. But I mean, what they're saying to each other on that bench is really what's going on. It's like, I know where I need to be, but I can't get there. And do you know cartography? It's like, can you read a map? Why didn't they say that? That was weird.
That was weird.
But yeah, that whole
I like
sequence,
her response to that. No, but I know where things are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, everything they said was kind of coded for the situation that they are actually in. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I loved their facial expressions. I love that they got close on them in their conversation. And I don't know, something about how she was looking at him throughout and he was looking at her. I was just like, yes, this is what we needed. This is what
and she was like, I believe in you. That was awesome.
Yeah. They look like they missed each other. Like when you look at them, it looks like they were just as excited to be filming again. Like, like they missed each other.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
That was cool.
And she said, "I'm not where I want to be. Are you?" And he looked at her and he had that little, I don't know, smirky smile on his face, like, "Yep, I am now."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just really love that. That just brought it all back to why we love them so much, because their chemistry is so good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten about that. I didn't recognize until then how long it's been since we've seen them together in the show.
Yeah.
Like, matter of fact, as far as like hearing that voice, hearing Rick's voice, it's like, oh wow, that's a blast from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Really
How long ago was that? Was that actually 5 years since the last episode?
They both really do look like their pre-apocalypse selves.
Yes,
so.
Right?
Yeah.
She looked fabulous in that periwinkle. Purple, whatever it is.
She does look good.
She looked fabulous.
And she is like she was in those dream sequences in the series. Just like she's very womanly. She's not like she doesn't have a huge sword and she's not killing anybody. She's just like a woman.
Feminine.
Yes. Yeah, she's feminine. Mm-hmm. And I just love knowing more about, I feel like I'm more informed about her. I feel validated in what I thought I got from the show. So I really, when those dream sequences showed up, I liked them a lot.
Remind me what city they're in?
That we don't
Rick's
know.
In Philly.
Well, we don't know for sure, but they are in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
So the next scene we see Rick after he wakes up from his wonderful dream that I'm sure he wishes he could still be dreaming about. He is holding, he has his stump wrapped up, but they still got his ass out there working.
Yeah.
Killing up zombies. And then we get introduced to the Okafor character.
Mm-hmm. I like that character a lot.
I liked him, and then I was like, what is your goal here, sir? Like, why are you all up in Rick's Kool-Aid? Now, we know Rick is cool.
He wants to save the world. I feel like he wants to save the world. We don't know that yet, but I feel like...
But he does see something in Rick that we all obviously know.
Yeah.
And Rick's not here for it. He's like, okay. And he's like, oh, I went to talk to you. I talked about you to the Major General Beale. It's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And basically trying to tell him I've told him that you're important, so we're gonna keep you going. We're gonna keep you here because there's bigger things for you. And Rick's like, yeah, whatever.
Rick can't get the message because this really is the way to go, and that's proven by the end of the show because it gets him where he wanted to go in the first place. But this, he's been going at this wrong. He's been going at this the wrong way the whole time. And
he doesn't. I was shocked that he has not even attempted to make a friend or a community or a nothing. He's like one track mind. He's like, no new friends, none. Yeah. Like, I ain't making no new friends. I ain't staying here. Because he just doesn't have anything. And somebody who came from like a community and a group seems like you kind of fall into that. But Rick's like, no new friends. Nope.
He's got his one office friend.
Yeah. But even that guy was like, you didn't even used to talk to me for 5 years.
Right. That's why I said office friend. Like, definitely just not a water cooler.
He says, should have got you a gift. He said, what are you going to give me? A scowl?
That was good. That was a good line. That was a really good line.
Yeah, I like Okafor too, so I was surprised at what happened at the end. My wife probably didn't because I have a bad habit of taking on the dominant accent for whatever show that I'm watching. I was doing that without thinking like 30 minutes afterwards. She's like, what are you doing?
He did have an interesting accent.
Was.
I didn't know
it
what
was
it was
just
either.
monotone. It was kind of, my wife said she was kind of channeling Denzel, but like with no emotion whatsoever.
There was a Denzel with a Bubba Gump.
Yeah.
Like Bubba Gump from Forrest Gump. It was like a Denzel Bubba Gump.
Denzel
Gump. Mixture there. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking like he would be a great like Malcolm X or something. Like, he would do that really well. But just no emotion at any point.
Yeah.
Like, it was fascinating, actually.
Well, he does eventually come up with some emotion, but not to the extent that I would.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, that was believable for his character, though. Like anybody else, no emotion would be a bad thing. But I mean, like from what he said that happened to him or his choice, like I can imagine, like your emotion is cut off from here on out. Like it is just numbers. It is just this is my goal. Let me go ahead and do it.
Right.
So he says, Okafor tells him he's talked to Major General Beale, and he's left him in a uniform in his apartment. He's basically like, "You're going to do this.
You're going to be part of the CRM's elite."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just like, you're going to do this. And he's trying to tell him, this is what you need to do. And Rick cannot be reasoned with on this matter. But I like
Rick's facial expressions. Like when he's on the way to an apartment and the helicopter passes and he looks up and then he's like, because I guess that's where he's noticing the bombs or no bombs or whatever. And then, the girl throws the glass at him to say hi, which is so weird to me.
Okay.
Well, you know what? First, that helicopter was headed straight for a power line. And I was like, wait! But nothing happened. So, but yeah. So, and then Thorne, who has a great accent.
Oh, yeah.
Throws that glass at him.
Yeah. No, that was not necessary. You wasted good glasses. You could have just said, hey, you.
Hi, yeah.
Well, she's not.
I guess was she supposed to be like drunk and belligerent?
She's not in her right mind either.
No, she's not.
She's under the same sort of delusion that Rick is. That the way and she's been doing the same thing he has. And she thanks him. She's like, thank you for convincing me that this is impossible, basically.
I feel like that's just how she greets him. Like she always has a bottle around, Rick, then you have to turn around anymore.
He's a badass.
Glass breaking, just said, damn it, Thorne, stop it.
Yeah, she's a badass. I mean, she was in the South African Navy on submarines, and she's just a badass. So yeah, she's gonna throw glasses at people.
She's out looking for trying to get back to her loved one. He's trying to get back to his.
Right.
But we're here now. And then she said a really interesting line when he said, they're not gone. My wife isn't gone. They're not gone. She says, no, we are.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. Just ask too, why the hell wasn't she on a leash? Like, hell, they're in the same boat. Put her ass on a leash.
I don't think she tried to escape.
Like she did.
She did.
But not the same way. I mean, she ended up in the Atlantic Ocean.
But no, that's where they found her. That's not. She didn't try to escape from them. Like she said that she was trying to make it back to South Africa from where she had gotten stranded in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
she wasn't with their colony yet, or their whatever. She wasn't with them yet. They found her out there.
She tried
to get them to stay, but I don't think that she ever said, unless I missed it, that she tried to escape to the extent that he did.
She tried to kill
him. Yeah, she tried trying to take her off the boat.
I tried to kill you. That's what she said.
But other than that, I don't think she tried to escape, so she wasn't leashed.
Right.
Because at that point, she wanted to die out there on that boat trying to get home.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me just float out here, and they're like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you try to kill me and you still have to be around me, I might put you on a leash. It's just to play it safe here.
Very lenient with these folks. I mean, all the way
extremely.
Yeah,
he had done us. He's like, let me go the other way and kill him with kindness, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and we're going to find out. We're kind of talking ahead of what because we do find out a lot about why he is this way with them,
right? In particular,
and why they are different from the people around them, who are also consignees.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised Rick didn't, like the Rick I know and remember and love would have like already killed like 20 people. Like there's no way, every day Rick woke up, he'd have been killing somebody trying to get out of there. Like there's no way he's just walking amongst the people with a hatchet or with with the weapons and stuff like that. Every chance he gets, he gonna kill somebody and try to get out a window or jump a fence. But
it's the military.
I think he's done that. I think he's done that.
Yeah, he has. It's the military, and this is a different story than. I mean, this is a city. He's like on the outskirts of a hidden city, and there's all secrets. Everything's secret. Yeah, and it's the military.
Well,
They've
and it's
gotten a
also
hold of him.
5 years later too.
Mhm.
And those are some actual ass Marines. Like when they were fighting, they're like, he's an actual Marine. You need to put it down.
Well, and two, I like what you said, Sister M, about him not being in his right mind.
Mhm.
He's so far away. It's so long from when he blew up and got
Right.
carted off and saved. He's tried to escape 4 times. Now he doesn't have a hand. You note, and this is really reinforced, which I loved. This is really reinforced when he is looking at the city. Esteban comes up,
Yeah.
and Esteban, just in his normal chit chat, says, "Oh, well, now you don't have to worry about him trying to recruit you." And he looks at him like, he's like, "What? They still want you to be in the army?" He's like, "Well, you might as well just go ahead and join. And then while you out there searching for twine or whatever, you can go and make your next move." And Rick's like, "Oh,
I swear to
now
God.
you know Rick would have thought of that shit
He would have.
Right.
the first month he was there before, but
If he'd been Rick.
if he had been his Rick, right?
I swear to God.
So just
The
docile to me. He's just so docile from the wild, like violent Rick that over the 10 years of the apocalypse grew to. And then he's sitting there with Esteban, like nobody is like, wash your face.
It's like, I swear to God, that is the blood from the day before, because it goes through into the night, and then the next night. And I watched it. I was like, I think it is. It's like he didn't even bathe.
Wash
He
his
just
face.
went and sat on the
Why
bench.
should he? He don't want to
Exactly.
be there.
And
He's
that
like,
actually,
y'all gonna
that's
smell my funk.
That's
You
what
want-
depression does. You know, that's one of the things depression does.
And then they think it's a smart idea to take the violent ass man and give him a weapon on his stub. They're like, nothing could go wrong with that. Put a knife on it, real sharp one. He's in line now.
But they didn't do. Did they do that after he committed?
After he agreed.
Yeah. And that's a cool ass hand weapon. That we've come a long way since Merle. We've come a very long way.
Somebody put a meme up that said he's in his Jamie Lannister era.
That's what I thought of too. It was like a cross between Merle and Jamie Lannister, having that fist on there. That was cool.
Hilarious.
And the whole thing about chopping off his hand is a setup to give him that. Basically, this is what they wanted. It's for him to have this hand with a knife. So the setup was him chopping off his hand to escape.
Well, I think that's how it was in the comic, from what I understand, is he did the same, but it just shows the desperation. To me, it just obviously showed the desperation that he was out of. This is my last resort of trying to get the hell out of here to get back to my family. And I don't care that it's, my hand, I'll chop off whatever.
Well, it reminded me of the very first 1 or 2 Negan episodes where he is out of his mind and he's like on top of that RV with an axe because Negan keeps saying he's going to chop off Carl's arm. And it brought me back to that. And Rick was not in his right mind at that point. So it was just kind of a callback to that.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if they would even cut off his hand in the TV show, because in the comic book it happened during the governor. The governor chopped off his hand after trying to interrogate him. He would never tell him the location, so he chopped off his hand. So I just figured that was so long ago. Okay, well, this is just a TV show. But no, they actually cut off the hand, and so I feel like right now this episode 1. This is episode 1, Rick. Next episode is going to ramp up, and I feel like the third episode is going to all right, we're the ones who live.
They gave him that nice little sexy hand, and then he put on that black jumpsuit.
Yeah. And he looks good.
He can get it.
And now he's got a sidekick. He's got Thorne as a sidekick who can kick his ass.
Might kill his ass.
It's like they're first, because she's like, I'll kill you. She's saying that all the time. Let's go get a drink before I kill you.
I did like the training montage though, because like you said, Alex, he's been a sheriff and he's been living and helping keep people alive for a long time, but he ain't no Marine. He ain't military trained. So I loved how they show him getting thrown.
Yeah.
And everything at first. And then
learning
of course
to fly a helicopter.
Learning to fly. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like he's going through all the training. He's learning so much, which is going to come in handy later, I'm sure.
Yeah. There and the weird scene where he accepts Okafor's offer, where he walks. I guess Okafor lives in a greenhouse with dog tags dangling, and he's he accepts his offer, and Okafor's like, "This is millet, and if I can find," and it's like, what? It's like that's weird. I understand the need for different grains in your diet. It was just this. He was like, he just worshipped it. This is millet. It's like, this isn't millet country, but if we can find the right kind, it's just weird.
That felt like Blackton.
It just was
black
strange. Acting. It's like he lives in a greenhouse with dog tags hanging down. So he's not quite in his right mind either.
Oh no, I don't think so either. But I think it's his way of, what's the word? Like atoning maybe for what he did.
Right.
That now that if he comes across the soldier, since he killed so many, he's going to try to remember them by keeping their dog tags and hanging them and making sure that he passes them every day. And he probably goes through and touches them. I don't know. He might have a little thing where he goes
ritual
and thing.
I could totally see that.
Trying to make it count.
Because it matters to remember people. I mean, it matters now in the real world, but in the apocalypse, it would really matter to remember people.
Because there's no lines. Nobody's going to remember them if past when they gone. If all their families are gone and everything. Yeah, that was interesting. That was a weird little personal touch to his character.
Yeah, it was. And I like that we've been shown that all three of them, Rick and Thorne and Okafor, they're not in their right minds, but they are. Like, at least Okafor has figured out, it's like, okay, I have a purpose. My purpose is to change this entire government, and the way I'm going to do it is by, so he has a purpose and a plan to help him deal with what he has done. And that's what
that's when we get our explanation about A's and B's.
Right. And it's like, yeah. I'll let you say it.
No, go ahead.
I'm looking at my notes, so I'm just like talking.
So he says alphas are the ones that lead.
Yeah, he takes Thorne and Rick. It's like, because Rick has another one of the dreams about Michonne, and there's a knock on the door that wakes him up. And wouldn't they give him an apartment upgrade or something? If he's, it looks like he's in the same apartment that he was in the whole time, even though now he's like part of the deal. But so Okafor takes them to somewhere, and they're killing walkers first, and then they're like in these ruins. And that's where he explains the A's and B's. And I'm like, thank you. Because I've been wondering.
A's are usually sent away and killed.
Yeah, because they want docile people, because nobody gets to leave. Everything's a secret. So they would have been killed. And that's why Marjorie the Trash Heap lied about what she had. Because she did pause a minute when they asked her.
You guys think we're going to see like a lot of her?
I don't
know. In the future.
I think we will, but it won't be the same person. Like, she'll be very different than what we remember.
Yeah, she was.
I wasn't a fan of Trash Bitch at all.
Nobody was. I know what I actually was. I always appreciate a villain. Like,
she
a really good
me.
Villain.
Yeah.
Just I kind of saw where she was going with this, and that I just appreciated it. And then at the end, basically she saved Rick's life.
Right. Does anybody remember how to pull it all together? Like why she had contacts, why she had a walkie, why she was like she had the trash heap going, and that was like
she shows up in The World Beyond, but I didn't make it as far as those episodes.
Okay.
And what you saw in the recap at the beginning of this episode, I think is footage from
The World Beyond.
The World Beyond. So we know we're going to see her because she showed up in that. Right. But I need to watch The World Beyond so I can find out what's up with Marjorie the trash heap.
I just couldn't figure out how to tie her together with the having. They let her out of the city, and she knows about them. She has a walkie-talkie. She calls the helicopter. But I just remember her running a stupid little trash circus.
Yeah,
like I'm like, in my mind, I can't remember how to tie her into her little trash circus. But
that's a good point.
It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Because did she actually know where it was? Like, she could know there's some people out there, but I think their main thing is not knowing where it is.
Okay.
Well, so maybe she was just some satellite place. They dropped off supplies every once in a while. Give us some people whenever you find good people. We'll come and pick them up for you and give you more stuff.
They're sister cities. I mean, Portland and Omaha are also, they all know each other exists. They just don't know where that one is.
So they don't know.
Yeah, they just don't know where it is. So maybe she was, from Omaha or something.
And if you remember from the earlier seasons, in the trash heap season, she actually had like a high tech little secret room like in the junkyard. And so, I feel like we'll find out more about that, like why she was assigned to that area and why. I think but yeah, that's why I liked it, because there was definitely more to it that they were just trying to build up on in that season. But
it's kind of sinister too that what they do is they kill it's basically type A people. They kill leaders because they want a docile population that they can manipulate and who won't leave. And that is a problem. That's a problem. And Rick catches on. He's like, nobody's free here.
Right.
While they're having that talk.
That's what's odd to me. If you're just going to kill them anyway, why go to the trouble of bringing them to the city? Just kill them then and be done with it. That's kind of odd.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we know that Marjorie the trash heap lied about Rick and said he was a bee. So he went under the radar.
Okafor recognizes that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I guess Okafor,
he's probably been looking for it.
Right. They send on and kill off all the other A's, and so here's an A that snuck under the radar. So that makes sense.
Exactly.
Just for his purpose of trying to change from within.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with the Thorn too.
Yeah,
he saw something in her too, but I'm like, how are they allowing? Like, even if he talks the Major General into it, how is he allowing someone, like Rick said when he tells them, I tried to escape 4 times. How y'all gonna be offering me this?
Well, somehow Okafor has
some kind of sway.
Major General's ear. And have we gotten to the part where Rick talks to the Major General?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because y'all know who that is?
Yes.
That's John Locke.
I don't trust him.
I
was like,
I don't trust him.
I had to look it up. I was like, wait a minute.
Right?
Wait a minute. I know who that is. And I was like, oh no, it's John Locke.
That's
so my question for y'all is, yes, on that topic, my question for y'all, because when he, talks to him and he's saying, Okafor, he when Rick asked him, how did y'all do it? How did y'all make this happen? He said a lot of sacrifice and Okafor. So that could be one major reason why he listens to him so much, because he helped them.
Is because of what he did. Right. He saved a city by what he did.
But even though he did that, when I want to call him Locke so bad, Locke turns to him.
Go ahead,
says, I want to ask you a question. Do you think he's up to something? And I'm going to look in your eyes. Do you think he's up to something? And before Rick could say no, he says no too.
Yeah.
And then Rick says it again. I'm like, this.
I didn't get that.
My question is, do you think he believed Rick?
I don't know. I couldn't really
I don't know what they were trying to tell us. I couldn't tell what they wanted us to get out of that. I even rewound it and like, okay, what? Because I don't know what they wanted us to get out of it. Maybe they wanted everybody to get their own conclusion.
I kind of felt like it was showing us that the Major General does not like he does know some of what goes on. And it's not like it's kind of like when Okafor was saying that he knew all about Rick, and then Michonne is a rare name, but in that area it's like he knows all these things. So it makes sense that the Major General would be at least a little clued in to what's going on, but not, I mean, he knows that Okafor is a big fan of these two consignees. So he has to know that Okafor wants something, he wants
them for a reason.
Yeah, he wants them for a reason. So I feel like the Major General knows just enough. And I felt like that scene conveyed that he was probably conveying to Rick that,
I know what y'all up to.
Yeah. Maybe not everything, but it's like, and then I'm just going to sit here on the bench with you and enjoy the view. And that's what I got out of that.
I feel like too that the purpose of that scene was to kind of play with the audience a bit, because when you first see the Major Generals, he's looking like the hard ass, like, oh yeah, he's going to be a big problem, and then you see the scene like, oh, maybe he's not so bad. But he was clearly way too nice, like in the scene. Like obviously he's a bad guy.
He was so John Locke.
But
he was so John Locke.
Right. And the people who've seen Lost, they knew that. Like to me, that whole thing was lost on me because I never saw the show. Yeah. But I just got that feeling from him. Like I don't trust him, and it's going to be about 2 episodes before he kills somebody important. Right. Yeah, I threw a pun in there. I do that from time to time.
But I was like, roll that back. You never watched Lost?
No. You know what? I never watched Lost for the same reason I never watched that 2 Girls 1 Cup video that was floating around on YouTube. It's just that, it was Lost. They told me that people were so angry with it and how it ended and everything. It's like, okay, I will not watch that show. Just like 2 Girls 1 Cup. Like, oh, it was so disgusting. It was so terrible. You should watch it. No, you just said it was terrible and disgusting.
It was really good up to a point. My problem with it is they kept killing my favorite characters, and it ended up focusing on the character I liked the least. That's what Lost it. It wasn't so much about the story and the smoke monster and all that kind of stuff.
It started out really, really good. It did.
It
started out really well.
The actors were so good. All the actors were so good on that show.
Yeah.
Everybody. Then they kind of just started focusing on just certain key characters, and they left all the interesting ones, I thought were interesting, to the side. Like a lot of shows do. And then it petered out to me. I stopped watching after like the 3rd season.
I watched the whole thing. It helped that the last couple of seasons there were some really funny extras online that gave them names like Crazy Hair Jungle Claire, and and they would have a smoke monster puppet, and that was fun. So while the show was deteriorating in front of my very eyes, I could go online and at least laugh a little bit.
This is sounding like Game of Thrones. Just specifically with the smoke monster and the smoke baby, like that kind of took you back there.
The smoke baby that was like, why?
Like what the hell?
Well, the smoke baby was to kill Renly.
At that point, I loved it. Like, shit, this mysterious ass magic shit suddenly. Yeah. Okay, I'm in. It was still good
that makes sense. That totally tied in and made sense. I don't go for Game of Thrones slander. I just can't. I can't handle the slander.
I understand.
I don't really either.
This is like reverse slander, because I was
as much as I loved it, I
fan.
can still talk shit on it.
Right. I was the hugest fan for 6.5 episodes or seasons. And then suddenly it just went way south, 1 episode at a time. It's like, I have earned the right to be angry about this. I brought like a community of people together to watch the show, and now they're looking mad at me.
I didn't start watching it until the very last season.
Hashtag
And
still salty.
What?
hashtag. I didn't
I'm
start
still
watching it until the
salty.
very last season. And
Oh my God.
as the last season was going, I was binging from one up. So it didn't have the same effect on me as
No,
it
it
did
did.
Right.
the
It
people
doesn't.
who were
And
watching it
people
all the
who
time.
binged it don't have the same sentiment about it either. So
Yeah.
if you
Right.
watched it, no matter when you
Yeah.
started, and you got to see it day after day after day, like throughout back to back,
Mhm.
you
Right.
don't have the same anger that people who waited a
Right.
year and a half for a
Right.
whole season
Right.
every
Mhm.
season have.
I do
So-
like, I don't like what happened. Like the first 3 episodes of the last season were fabulous. And the last episode of season 7 was fabulous. And then
Mhm.
after the Night King dies, that's when everything, it's like, you're right. It's like, don't they like have recon that goes out and sees where it's like that if there are ships, can we bring the dragon here? It's like stuff started to not make sense.
Mhm.
And I didn't
For a
like
while.
I didn't like Danny's demeanor so
The
much. She
characters were
didn't
doing
do
shit
that very
they
well.
don't do like in The
Yeah.
Walking Dead. Like they did
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the characters that they written, they forgot what they wrote.
They didn't lay the foundation. Like that's where it was supposed to go, but they didn't lay foundation for that. They were going too fast. Even though HBO offered them 2 more seasons, they said no. We're just going to go
Really?
ahead and finish it.
They
Yes,
should have
that's
got
the reason
somebody
why.
else. HBO was
Exactly.
at fault too. I mean, I don't think at the time that I thought this, but I think towards the end I said, it's not all their fault. Because there's a
Because he
whole
didn't finish the
big
book.
ass studio back there
Mhm.
okay and all this shit.
Mhm.
And he didn't finish the books. He
Right.
didn't finish the story. So
Right.
they kind of had to make it up.
They
They could have
did.
made up some better shit than that.
They
I
could
don't-
have.
They
I
could
don't
have did
think
like
that-
everybody else in Hollywood does and go steal some fan fiction and called it their own and did better than
Right.
that shit.
That happens.
They did. That was the reason.
It does.
They were reading fan fiction. And they're like,
They
oh, we got to
read
make
the
it
wrong
different than that.
one. They read the
Yeah.
wrong one.
I
man.
feel
I
like
actually got hooked on the show. It's so funny because I kept watching because I thought Ned was coming back because I thought it was his show. So I'm like,
Wait a minute.
Ned
How
is the star.
long?
It's his show. So they got dragons, they got witches. I want to see how they gonna bring Ned back. So I was in like 3 seasons before I was finally like, so Ned is coming back.
we can get other people back, but not Ned. And doesn't Arya say at one point, can they bring back a man without a head?
You know what?
I was like, yes, they can.
Yeah.
That's why I'm watching.
I can't even laugh at that. They brought Jon Snow's ass back in some way, so I can't laugh at that.
That's
If
true.
they had-
I was hooked. I thought, okay, I love this guy. I love his character. This is his show. So I
Mhm.
know he's coming back. And he's coming back with a vengeance. I was like so ready
Nope.
for Ned's revenge.
Nope.
And
That would have been
No.
better than the last season.
Head on a stick.
they
Yeah.
should have brought him back at the last season. He should have came out and killed the Night King.
Headless Ned.
Arya was perfect to kill the Night King, but it felt like
They
if
should
they
have had
had
that be the
taken
finale.
if they had taken more time to tell the story that they did tell us in the last few episodes, it would have made more sense. We needed more time for Dany to lose her mind.
Mhm.
We really did.
Right.
We
Not
needed-
just 3 episodes. It was like
we
3
needed-
episodes and she was killing kids.
Yeah, we needed to see
Right.
more. We needed
She
to
would not
see
have done that.
something, some sort of
Nobody likes
cruelty.
me.
Yeah, we needed to see some sort
My
of
nephew don't
cruelty
wanna date me.
beyond. Yeah, beyond just having her dragon burn somebody up. We needed to see an escalation.
Oh, and-
Who is resisting my sexual advances?
right. I can't have sex with my nephew now. Oh,
Honey,
everyone.
John was
everyone will
like, as
burn.
soon as he found out, he
Everyone
was
will
like, I'm done. She was
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever. Let's
Yeah.
come on back to the bed. I didn't like that whole, but I know that was the story. I just did not like any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like that, and I listened to the for y'all's podcast about the last episode of season 7 all the time because it's the funniest thing y'all ever did. But you're right.
I remember that.
It's like you were like, I don't like it. and you're right. It was like, it was creepy as fuck.
It's
was
nasty.
just-
I
yeah, it
don't
was
like
nasty.
it. I don't like it. And okay, maybe it happened once, but as soon as you find out,
Yeah.
but no, she wanted to keep on. John was like,
She
Well,
grabs his arm when they're in the crypt.
Yeah.
Sister K, do you feel the same way in the Dance of Dragons though? Because they're all having incest.
That's
That's just
different.
a normal thing. That's different.
I don't like that either.
Okay. Well,
But
okay.
I don't.
that's
I
the
don't.
basis of the story. That's kind of where this is why Danny thinks it's fine because these are her people. They
Yeah,
marry
because
each
they've
other
been
all the
doing it.
time.
Yeah, they've been doing it. Mm-hmm.
What show are we talking about now?
I know.
Yeah, I
we're
know,
so
right?
off schedule.
We go
Off
off
schedule.
topic.
Yeah, my bad. That was my fault.
No, it's fine.
No, it's good. It's nice to remember the love that we had for these shows.
God,
Um,
I can't believe I did not find y'all's podcast until after. It was like a couple of years after the show went off the air,
Oh wow.
and
okay,
Wow.
that
I started listening to it, and then I was like, I love these women. I love
binges.
women, and I to this day, like I play the like. There's some guys that are working on my house now, and I'm all the time on the back porch, and I have y'all playing. So all they really hear are these women talking and then laughing. And I told him, I was like, you know that podcast I listen to all the time with the women laughing? I'm going to get to be on one with some of them people. And like, they thought that was great. Even though they don't hear details, they just hear people laughing and speaking loudly. Yeah.
Gotta have fun. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of the joy of talking about TV. It's the joy of talking about anything that you love. When you find your people that'll talk to you about that stuff in the same way, and you know they feel the same way. They may not have the same opinions about things, things that happen on the show, but they hold their shows close to their heart. They're like, my shows mark parts of my life.
Oh, definitely.
They always have. So yeah, that's why I like y'all's podcast, because so many podcasts about so many shows, and especially anything that is horror based or fantasy based or whatever, it's guys, and it's just nerdy guys and they're boring.
Well,
they're boring as fuck.
I mean, that's why representation. I hate all y'all that get tired of hearing these words. I'm sorry, but this is why it matters. That's why diversity matters, because everyone, if you have the same people that think the same things and see the same things, the shit's gonna be boring as hell.
Yeah.
You get different people from different places who see things differently. That's when it's interesting. When I watch something, I'm looking at the wigs, I'm looking at the lipstick, I'm looking at the whatever, and this other person's not even noticing the shit that I'm noticing. The same thing that you do. Like, you'll notice something that I don't notice, and that's what makes the conversation fun and interesting, because you're like, oh yeah, you know what? And the next time I'm gonna see if I notice that, and then you notice it, and you're like, shit, I can't not see it now.
Like them terrible wigs on the dragons on those black folks. Oh my god.
House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
They all look like
it I ever seen.
They all look like King Ezekiel.
It is. They were worse. They were worse. Really,
because it was blonde too.
But
like,
his is one of the worst. It wasn't the color, because I've seen women with some blonde wigs that look great. Yeah. It's the wigs, it's the texture, and they don't have obviously
stacked on hair. It was terrible. Nobody's hair looks like that. I'm like, why didn't they just make it look like regular people's hair, but silver or gray? Like nobody walks around looking like that. Like that was so.
They don't have the right people doing it. They don't have the right people.
They sure didn't. And that don't make no sense in the year 2020.
Okay, hello.
It ain't no excuse. Y'all didn't even try.
That's what
it's 2024.
That's what I say, though. They ain't got the right people in there, and that's again why representation matters. Get some different people. Hello, y'all know what I'm talking about.
It's terrible.
Up in there to help.
It made me feel like, oh, these black people ain't none of them sticking around. They don't even care about them. They don't even care to give them a proper wig. obviously they're not going to be integral to this show going forward. Because they were just like, throw a mop on them babies' heads. Get them babies over here. Throw some mops on their heads. Put them on the screen. Like, they don't even care.
The thing that I'm always looking for is like any kind of technology thing. And so it's why I noticed the TV at the beginning. And then I'm not even sure if we're to this scene yet, but it's when Rick goes and holds his knife hand up to Okafor's throat. And when Okafor throws him across the room, that TV comes on and it's the burning log, like you see at Christmas time, but it doesn't turn on until Rick gets thrown. It's just a split second. And it's like,
I didn't even notice that.
It was just really weird. And I spent a whole lot of time thinking, I'm like, okay, was there a burning log at that year? Because, it's like, okay, we have to go back to the technology of about 2009 because that's when it started. And it's like, okay. And I had to think and look up. I'm like, yes, there was a TV station that played the burning log in New York for years and years. They still do it. So it's possible somebody had a VHS tape. Okay, possible. I can move on.
And we don't know what city they're in. Or we think maybe it's Philadelphia. Does Philadelphia sit on water like that? Does anybody know, like the downtown scape?
I think so.
From what? So, hey, Shalita. So I talked to Shalita not too long ago, and she did because she's from Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she said from New Jersey, that's like the view from New Jersey, looking at Philadelphia.
Got it.
Across the bridge, which I didn't know that you could do.
Mm-hmm.
So she said that yes, you can, like that side that they're on with the fence, and then they're looking out. They're looking at Philadelphia from the New Jersey side.
Right. Wow. Okay. So they could even be close to like New York, where
they are. You can look at New York. You can look at New York from New Jersey as well. It's kind of the same sort of view.
Yeah. And they're going to end up tying all that in together because I can definitely see a pattern between the Dead City and the Daryl Dixon thing. I'm very interested if they're going where I think they're going, but it seems to suggest that there are going to be some zombie variants, like an evolution of the zombies. I'm hoping that's where they go.
I hope they don't. I want them in the background. I want to see more stories and people, and I don't want it to be like, I don't want them to give any reason for the special effects people to go, okay, let's make something gross. It's like, I know we have to kill zombies every episode. We have to kill them, that's just necessary.
Well, every once in a while is okay, but I get what you're saying, but so let's get there. So
yeah,
at this point, Rick's joined, he's done the training.
Right.
We don't know yet, but we're about to find out that he's still thinking about escaping.
Right. So this would be attempt 5 that we know of, right?
Yeah. Right. So he finds this little map. He's marking it up. He goes to see his friend Esteban in the city.
Right.
Can you tell me where this leads? We'll skip quickly. He tells them basically, I'm not going to tell you anything, but if I was to tell you anything, it goes east and there's a code and here's the code number, Mm-hmm. So they go on that mission. He's got it all set. He's done killed a walker, put his dog tags on it. He's going to fire it up. There's a big tanker truck.
He's got a grenade ready.
Yeah, a grenade ready to blow the whole thing up. I got a little confused at this part because then he's about to go into the manhole. He stops and hesitates. I'm like, why? And then he has to kill a walker, kill another one. Oh, there's a kid. I'm like, where the hell did the kid come from?
She reminded me of Newt from Aliens.
Oh,
that's who she
is. That's a good analogy.
So that's a good analogy. He's like, oh shit, I can't blow it up now. I'll blow the kid up.
Yeah.
So he gets up and then he gets overrun, and then here comes Thorn, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. That pause didn't make any sense. That pause.
Well, it was a pause. It's kind of like he had to pause in order for the walker to bite his arm. They didn't do it. They didn't do it fast enough.
Right.
Because he had his arm back there for a couple of seconds before. It was weird. It was weird the way they did it.
I thought it was like he was trying to cook the grenade or something and held his arm back.
Well, all he had to do, it was ready. All he had to do was release it.
Yeah, he had already took the pin out.
Right.
Just throw it and get in the damn manhole.
Yeah,
but he was
that
like,
didn't make sense.
I think I have a feeling how I know how this is his fifth attempt and he can't get away. He just keep doing stupid shit. Like,
yeah, he's not good at it.
his plans, this is stupid. His plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan. Come on, this, the last two plans we know about was dumb as shit. So I don't have no faith in the first three plans.
I could have told you your ass, was going to pass out before you got away from the fucking blood loss. Even though you cauterized that sucker.
Eventually.
Well, Merle did it.
Trail, and they're going to find you.
But Merle wasn't running from soldiers. He was running from walkers.
Yeah.
Different.
That's true.
Totally
That's
different.
true. That's true.
So, but Thorne comes, she shoots up everything and tells him, come on, let's go. We got her. We extracting her. Let's go. He's like, you told me to tell you if I needed help, I'm asking for help. I'm helping you. Bring your ass out. You're not leaving because they will find you and they'll find whoever you're looking for because Thorne knows about you. And I'm like, oh, what the hell he know?
Yeah.
I was like, why would he think that Okafor didn't know? Like,
I know.
Because he's not in his right mind. He thinks he's got these secrets. He's got like a sofa cushion full of cell phones with pictures on them,
Yeah, nobody's gonna search his room.
Those are the type of phones that they would have had then. Those are the proper models of iPhone. Because that's what I see.
Very good.
Thanks, tech support.
Yes, that's me.
No Galaxy S9s out here.
AV/tech support.
But we find out as he thinks that they're hidden, they're really not because Okafor done seen it all. He done read all the notes, all the little letters.
He went and found the message in the bottle.
Yeah, he went and got all Rick's bottles and everything. He's got a crush on Rick. His crush is unreal.
Okay, ain't they?
He Googled Rick Grimes.
Infatuated. He's infatuated with Rick Grimes. That's what I would have been more concerned when I was Rick. I'd be like, damn, motherfucker, damn.
But imagine, like, this is his purpose. Like we learned by now that when he bombed like the city, he killed his wife. Have we learned this at this point?
No, not at that point.
Okay.
But
what we find out later kind of explains to me Okafor's drive and focus, just single-minded focus on these people, because that's his purpose. His purpose is to change things. This is how he's going to do it, through these people. So I want to know what he knows about Thorne.
I'm so glad they built his character up and got us so interested. I'm sure he's going to be a big part of this whole season.
Yeah.
So happy.
Yeah.
Right. But that takes us to that point where Rick goes to confront him in the middle of the night. What do you know about me?
Right.
He's like, oh, well, yeah. He tells him, I know about Michonne. I don't like the way he said it either.
Michonne.
He did. He seemed a little threatening at first.
Say her name right, motherfucker.
Yeah.
He knows, enough to know that and he tells Rick, look, if you left, I'd had to been the one to chase you down.
And kill you.
I'd have been the one that had to kill you and her.
And And that's where he says what he did and his sacrifice. Like he and his wife was a Marine. They talked about it, and he bombed the Marines instead of the city and killed his wife.
Somebody who understood exactly what happened, what he was saying. So this is at the very beginning of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Okay.
The same
he bombed
thing.
Atlanta. He bombed LA. They were getting ready to have him go bomb Philadelphia. He said, nah, I don't want to bomb the whole city. The wife said, no, let's not bomb. Don't do all that either. He ended up bombing that. I guess it was an outpost.
There were Marines that were
on the ground.
Yeah, Marines on the ground ready to go in.
Sides.
Yeah. So instead of bombing the city for the Marines to go in, he bombed the Marines, incling his wife. And it sounds like she was cool with it. It sounds like she was cool with it.
That's a weird way of breaking up with somebody, but
you dropped the bomb on me.
Yeah. So, I mean, he said she was okay with it, but they always have a story on a bad breakup. We don't know that.
It's not you, it's me.
That's his side. Yeah, that's his side of the story.
I said, let's
totally
not bomb them. I didn't say bomb
me.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's not bomb anybody else.
You never listened to me.
Right.
Oh, baby, I thought you said bomb me. My bad.
Another example of men not listening.
Oh.
Okay.
But anyway, that's what happened. Yeah.
So he bombs, he switches, he decides we've already annihilated all these major cities, and he sees that they're going to keep doing this. So then he's like, well, they said he switched sides, but there wasn't any sides then, right? It was just the army, the military. And you know what I mean? People. They acted like
but the military versus the people.
But yeah, I mean, the military's goal, I mean, they were napalming the cities.
They were
the military's goal was
but there was no resistance. There was nothing. Nobody knew anything.
There couldn't be.
Because they were getting killed.
I think the thing was, instead of trying to bomb to contain the outbreak, because it's not going to be contained, period.
Right.
That's what he switched. Instead of doing what the military wanted him to do, which was just nuke the whole city.
Kill everybody.
And if there's regular people, if there's zombies, we don't care. We're just going to try to eliminate this threat. He's like, no, we're going to get rid of the military because they're just arbitrarily killing people.
Right.
I want to try to help people live. So that's kind of where his sides were.
Maybe they'll tie it together more. Because for me, when it's like he switched sides, that made it seem like there was a military and there was resistance. Yeah. And they were clashing, but there wasn't. It was the military, and then there were just people running from zombies.
Yeah, there was innocent people.
Switched sides and hooked up with who? How did he know where to go? Like,
it's kind of like he made his own side. He made his own. It's like he identified with the people who were down there trying to survive more than he identified with the military, and that was the switch.
Which is interesting because now this brings up where I was thinking. What I want to know is. John Locke, Major Bill, Major General Bill, whatever. Is he really, is he the new military or he's actually, I think he's just a new made up military figure. I don't think he was in the military before. And so that's when he came over to him and say, look, I want to protect people. This is how I'm planning to do it. We're going to keep our city secret. We're going to try to keep the walkers back as best as we can. We're going to be on this island so they can't even get to us. And we're only going to let people in after, they came up with their little process. And so I think
which does work.
Which it's working.
Does work. Yeah.
It's working. But John Locke is not, he ain't no better than the military was back in the day.
Right. You're right.
He's doing the same thing, just not on the biggest scale. And that conversation with Rick, where Rick says, yeah, I saw the government napalm Atlanta. And when he said, yeah, that was just excessive. That was too much. No, you're just doing it on a smaller scale.
Right.
And they talk a lot.
You're kidnapping people, making them slaves and not letting them leave and then murdering them if they do. They show leadership or get out and kill them. Right. And it's everybody they know.
You select for docile people.
Yeah.
So you can control them. It's all about control. And we really don't know what life is like in the city. We didn't see much of that. They wander around in a park some.
Yeah. They have a nice
park. Out picnicking and shit. So it must be real calm.
But they
got air conditioning.
Yes. No more swamp ass. Yes. But shit, I forgot what I was talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Somebody else. No, it wasn't y'all. It was me. It happens all the time.
We were saying we really don't know what it's like.
Yeah. The city, every time they talk about the city, it seems sinister. It's like it's secrets on secrets on secrets, and the city itself is hidden. And there are reasons why they're doing it, but it doesn't seem. I mean, they're doing it that way because it's working. But it seems like to be able to do it that way, the leaders at the very top would have to be at least a little corrupt.
Oh, yeah. That's a linchpin of society.
Yeah, to ignore people's basic freedom. It's like, can I go out? No.
And then it's supposed to be a city of like 200,000 people or something, right?
Right.
And then I don't know how you could even hide that. Like, you can't hide that. You could hide Alexandria. But you can't hide a major city that everybody knew existed before the apocalypse. So you think people ain't gonna try to go there? You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like,
they can because they kill everybody. They probably kill everybody that comes up there, and if they don't kill them, they make them basically prisoners.
Yeah, they don't want to bring everybody.
Yeah,
and I thought about that too. Like why wouldn't they go to a smaller area? But really, it's kind of like hiding in plain sight. Like 200,000 people in Philadelphia. Well, you can do a little better job hiding them.
Yeah. If you have like something, and it looked to me like every time they showed this skyline, it seemed to me like the city itself must be in
the center
in the center part where it would be hidden by taller buildings and stuff. There are a lot of those. So it kind of makes sense to me that people wouldn't know where it was, although I'm sure Portland and Omaha have, a helicopter wouldn't go all that way, but
they said that they weren't hiding who they were in Portland and Omaha.
Right. But here they are. It's like they don't tell people where they are. And that,
that's interesting. And then Rick said also earlier in the episode, when I first tried to escape, they didn't know what to do with me because no one ever tries to leave.
Right.
They're all happy to be there safe. But my question is, no one's like, when Rick says they're not free and Okafor says, well, no one really is free. It's kind of like they're safe, but no one's really safe because as soon as someone dies, they turn.
Right.
So how do they
have to have a system.
There must be some kind of system or something that controls that or takes
somebody
care of that.
Somebody you call when someone dies. There's a certain type of 911 number that you call. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought, but back to the conversation we were having about, you were talking about enhanced walkers or different types of walkers. So when we get to the conversation, I think it's a little bit after this when they're talking about Omaha falling.
That to me, that could be the secret city who's doing that, because the details they give.
Well, I had to rewind this part when they said the city fell. Well, so after he tries to do his escape in the manhole and she says no, and they go back. Then we get him drinking, and then Thorne walks in and says, turn this on, and the TV is showing.
And now
Omaha.
We're back to the present.
Right.
We're exactly where we were at the very beginning of the episode. And everything that has happened in between has been a flashback. And go ahead with
they're talking. So I at first was confused. I'm like, okay, did they, meaning Locke, Major whatever, Beale, did he go and bomb the joint, or did it get overrun somehow? And then it wasn't until another scene where they get into a little bit more detail, and the TV's on, and he's looking out the window, and they have the TV on. You can hear the announcer talking about. It seemed like people were congregated in one building, and something happened in that building.
Yeah, there were
an outbreak.
It's like there was a break in the wall. There was a breach in their wall. There were 2 points of ingress, I guess, where people were getting in. There was the last of them were holed up in this building where something must have happened. And it says that the Major General went on a reconnaissance mission to find out what was going on. But to me, from the beginning, that's shady. That's shady.
Right,
there's something going on. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so 2 things. I thought, well, maybe there is some new type of zombie. Maybe they've been doing an experiment. Who knows? If something happened, because why would it fall all of a sudden? And then secondly, to be burning like it was showing, wouldn't somebody have to go bomb it for that to happen?
I don't know. That's not my area. I'm tech support.
And
what do y'all think about that?
And that's what fascinates me about it, is I'm sure they'll go closer and closer into it, but they won't show it all because that's probably going to be a later season, the 15th, 20th year of Walking Dead.
Oh gosh.
But
No, please
I feel
no.
like it has to be a combination with what they were setting up. Because I mean, for the spinoffs, Daryl Dixon and Dead City, in well, just a little bit. For Daryl Dixon in France, the people there were experimenting on zombies. They were taking a lot of research, a lot of notes, trying to figure out, some zombies acting herd behavior and some zombies acting like a protective behavior with the herd. So they'll be kind of like alongside the herd, and if they hear something, they'll go towards it first. And I guess one guy specifically was saying it seems like once they hear something, if they figure out like it's a big disturbance, then that's when the other zombies come to. Like
Uh-huh.
he's like calling to them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of observances at this point. So, as far
Right.
as France goes, there at that point, it could be, in Omaha, they figured out a little bit more, or even a different part of the variants or different variants altogether.
Or it may just, something that they found out this Major General doesn't like. It doesn't fit with his plan, and he feels like it's going to endanger his plan. So
Right.
that would make total sense.
It would be a combination, but in Dead City with Maggie and Negan, and this is not a spoiler really. It's just kind of a part of the story. The people there, like one of the people there, one of the villains was an engineer of some sorts in the past, and so he actually figured out a way to use zombies for energy. So you're kind of getting that along with the research in France. It's like I feel like something's gonna come with the zombies.
Rick mentions it. Rick mentions it when he's talking about the story. He's like he's writing it to Michonne. You hear it in his head, and he's like, "We work killing walkers for energy." And
Right.
I thought at first it was like he just didn't put his comma in there, and it was a run-on sentence. But now that you say that, yeah, okay.
No, I remember that now that you say that too. But how did they ever say how they do it?
In Dead City, yeah, they did.
I totally missed that. I was thinking he was like kill walkers for energy. Like that's how I pay my electric bill. Like
that's what I thought at first too.
Credits.
I gotta do, and if I want my electric and my air conditioning, this is my job. I kill these walk. Okay, so
but now that Alex has said what he said, it takes sense. On a totally different tone.
Totally different, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And I love tie-ins like that. I love tie-ins to different shows like that.
See, that's why I'm excited because it's the first time in a while I've been excited for what's coming next in Walking Dead. Yes. But it's tempered excitement because I've seen what's happened before. And like I always kind of wish a little bit too big and they like A's and B's. Like, I thought in the beginning, maybe it could be alpha and beta. Like, no, it's not gonna be that simple. It is that simple. It's alpha.
Well, it is, but it's very telling. Just the whole A's and B's thing tells you everything not everything, but a lot that you need to know about how this city runs. That's their selection process. You are this or you are that. And if you're that, we're going to kill you.
Yeah. And like his friend is already in middle management. He's obviously a follower. He's a B. He ain't going to fight. He ain't going to try to escape. He ain't going to do none of that. And he's getting promoted. Like he's into the city now and he's, in middle management now, managing people or whatever, so he shows he's very docile. He's not threatening at all. So he's getting promoted,
Right. And Rick and Thorne are clearly not docile.
Yeah.
Like Thorne is like feral, throwing glasses all over the place.
Right, still throwing shit.
Yeah, I mean, she is not. She is not anyone to mess with, even for Rick. Like Rick has met his match. But I look forward to seeing more of her because we have to see more of her.
I'm kind of indifferent with her. To me, she gets on my nerves with all that throwing shit and like this is not the way you need to. I don't know. And she keeps saying you're a good guy. He's a good guy to the little girl. And then when she told the story about that little it's another question I have for y'all. Okay, delts. That word delts. That's what they're calling the walkers.
Right. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Like I think like deltoids, like at the gym. I have no connection.
Is it delta?
Like they're not A's or B's. D for dead.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm gonna look into it to see if I can find any theories or facts or anything like that.
No, I don't like that show.
So, can someone remind me? So remember when Michonne got on that boat? Did she find something of Rick's on that boat?
I think so, but
Yes.
I don't remember it well
Me
enough because
neither.
they refer to it in
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Wasn't it that the first phone?
Yeah, I think
There
so.
was something with a phone.
Who
And
did
you're
this?
right, because
Has
he
etching
had
on
etched
it?
out the picture. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
How does he have it now then? Like, I'm trying to
He
figure it
has
out.
one-
I'm like,
I can't remember who did them because there's Japanese
Right.
on
I think
one
there
of
was
them.
two.
Is it Yumiko or something like later
I
on?
don't
I have
remember
no
that
idea.
either.
I need to go
That's a-
back and find that out.
I need to
isn't
figure
because
out.
that what made her want to go look for him, right? She found something on that boat, and that's what made her think he's alive. And I'm gonna go look for him, and I'm leaving my kids.
That's what
Like,
they
these
talk about
kids-
in the recap.
Yeah, now what about these? Oh, I found bag, but I just can't tie that in. I guess it'll come in. Hopefully,
Yeah.
they'll loop it and make it make
Yeah.
sense. But I just kind of vaguely remember she found something on the boat that made
Yeah.
her
I
give
need
up all her everything.
I
Common
need to
sense
go
and
back
just-
and look and
Yeah.
find that out
What
because I
other-
remember it being in the series, but I don't remember any details.
Yeah, I don't remember the detail either.
So too long ago.
Yeah.
It was.
Mhm.
I will say this. During that scene when he was fighting with Okafor,
Mhm.
and he said, you don't get to choose for me.
Mhm.
I didn't go through everything I've gone through, did this to myself for you to choose anything.
Mhm.
And then he says, my wife, I choose my wife, I choose my daughter. He don't say boo shit about his son. Remember he has RJ,
Was he
who
born?
is actually his biological, and
Yeah,
Judith is not.
was he born when
I
Rick
don't think so.
left? So
Wasn't
I mean,
he?
I
Like
don't
she was
remember.
pregnant, I believe.
I think she was
Maybe Rick
pregnant,
doesn't
but
even know.
yeah,
Oh,
he was
don't
not
know.
born. Yeah, I don't think he knows.
Yeah,
Damn, there's so many
like a
details.
time jump. It's a time jump, and she popped up with that baby, right?
Right.
Right.
With a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we didn't
Jesus was
see a
still
baby.
young.
We never saw him as a baby. He just popped up. His name was RJ, and he was like 4.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't know who
That's-
baby that
he
is.
don't-
I'm
so
gonna go
he
back to that. We don't know whose baby that is.
Well, I mean,
That's Tyrese.
Judith.
Rick.
Now, Judith.
Whose
Not,
baby
what is,
that
is Judith? Yeah, that's her name. She doesn't belong to anybody because that is Lori
No.
and Shane's baby.
Right.
baby.
That trick hoe number 1?
Yeah.
Is that the number? Okay.
Yes.
I lost track of the number.
I don't do
She's
trick
really
hoes.
number 2.
I don't do trick hoes.
Sookie was number 1.
Don't do
I
trick
got you.
hoes.
I got you.
I know, but the definition it makes sense.
Yes,
But we won't
it
go
does.
into it. The definition is someone
Yes.
who disregards their family, their friends, their children for
Yeah, because
Oh,
they're
man.
stigmatized.
yeah.
No, nice.
That's the term that I've
But
heard y'all use.
I will say, I thought he would. I guess I thought that he knew before he got blew up that the baby was here. I thought the baby was there before he got blew up.
I don't remember. I should have studied more.
I need to go.
Hey, when
back.
they came back after the time jump, there was just a toddler there. And it took me a
Yeah.
minute because they were just calling
Mhm.
him RJ.
and
And I feel
Judith
like
was
it took me a minute
Judith
to
was
even
like
know
10.
who he was. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the time jump happened, that 5-year span or
Right.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then she just had a toddler, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
we
maybe
need
she
we
didn't
need
even
to
know she
study
was
up.
pregnant.
Because we didn't see her go into labor. Like we didn't see
No.
none of that. Because
No, no.
Right.
yeah.
Somebody in the family, write in and let us know. Write in.
Yes,
and-
please.
Yeah.
SST
But he's still even
gmail.com.
but he didn't care about them kids. Even in his dream sequence, it's only Michonne. Judith ain't even in the dream sequence. Like
That's a different trick.
Michonne could be walking Judith in the park, but he ain't even trying to see that.
No, he ain't.
Like, I need Michonne in a sexy suit with her hair pulled up. But think about
Yeah.
you.
That's
Sure
all.
didn't.
I feel like, as parents, man, we're not going to, I mean, if I had the choice, I'm not going to choose to dream about my kids. I mean, I'm going to dream about my wife and other
Right?
stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. He does have another dream between this and him deciding to go all in, I guess is the word.
Is that the one that ends badly? He's having a dream about
Yeah.
Michonne, and then all of a sudden everything starts to catch on fire.
Because he says beforehand, it's like after this confrontation with Okafor, where he says, "This is what happened. I killed all these people." He writes his last letter to Michonne and decides, "Okay, I'm done. This is it." He throws.
He's got a purpose.
He throws away all the letters, the phones that he had hidden. He decides to go all in on everything.
Because he can save the world. That was the one thing he needed to know. It's like him and Thorne would both save the world if they had the chance. And that's why they're, and now he knows, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. He doesn't know it's going to get him where he wants to go, but like, it's purpose. And he's getting rid of all the past.
Yeah.
But
he said, and then he said, "I no longer see the dead."
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was interesting because then when he has the dream, and she looks so good in that white cream outfit, them knee boots, and anyway, and he has the pizza, and that was
I brought 5 pizzas
in a ring, in a wedding ring.
It'd work on me,
right?
Get some woman to bring me 5 pizzas. And a wedding ring? I'm in.
The pizzas.
Never happened. Never happened. Who has that much imagination, really?
And what are you going to do with 5 pizzas? Because, I mean, I can't eat but like 2-3 slices.
I don't know, celebrate.
He could have said like pizza
several days.
and some wine or something. He's like 5 pizzas.
Yeah.
It was weird, but I guess it's supposed to be weird.
Yeah.
Because like y'all keep saying, he ain't in his right mind. So he probably can't even dream right.
If he's so creative in pizza, you really want pizza, I guess.
That's what he wants. That's his purpose.
His purpose
is 5 pizzas.
And they keep showing the windmills. I guess maybe the windmills have something to do with the energy or something.
Yeah, they
I think definitely.
And that's, I mean, the way that they portrayed the city, and here I am about technical details again, but it just made such sense. It's like, okay, they got the wind energy up and running. That's what's going to work the best first. It's like they're going to get the least complicated systems that we need to survive. They're going to get the least complicated ones going if first.
Burning up the walker bodies for that energy, or if they're
could be.
Like, remember that? Was it Alexandria? What was it? There was this one episode where they were actually having walkers tied to like this merry-go-round,
right?
And it was generating.
Yes, I mean maybe that's what they're doing. Well, no, they can't do that if they're dead.
No, they're killing them. So
yeah. But I mean, yes, you could do that. You could burn people and make energy if you wanted to.
True. Yeah, I guess so. That's what I'm thinking that they're doing.
They went into it in Dead City. Was that Dead City? Yeah, it was Dead City. Like, do you want to? It's scientific. It kind of goes into that. But I mean, essentially, they are decomposing the zombies further. Like eventually breaking them down, and they're starting to give off methane gas.
And that process generates energy. Okay,
right.
That makes sense.
Right,
I got it.
Okay,
it looks
I'm in.
horrible.
Thank you for the detail.
I'm sure.
I love it.
But back to the dream. So then, when they kiss, that was a good scene. And then she starts it looks like she's burning.
Yeah.
And then he has those several flashes. I'm like, oh, so he's back to seeing dead people. Or seeing the dead, I'm guessing.
Seeing something.
He's seeing something. So it ain't all gone, is what I kind of took from that. Like, he says
when you go forward a little bit, he starts telling that story about his house catching on fire, like the fire. Is that like played into that daydream he was had? Like,
I think so.
I don't know. I mean, it was, to me, that story. So that's him and Okafor in the helicopter on the mission.
Yeah.
And he's telling the story about his daddy. He woke up in the middle of the night and he looked out and things were on fire. The crops were on fire. And it turns out what happened is his daddy burned the crops because the farm was failing, and it saved them. And he says it was the wrong thing to do, but it saved us. And to me, that was like kind of like what he's doing. He still feels like it's the wrong thing to do, but it's the right wrong thing to do.
Like it's not what he wants to do, because essentially if he does this, he's kind of giving up on finding everybody again, and more than likely will end up dying in the process. So it's kind of basically killing off what he wanted, his dreams and goals. And that's what I thought too when he said no longer see the dead. Like, I mean, more than likely the people who I'm looking for are at least mostly dead.
Oh, he's gonna
I
see
thought
the
that made him part
dead.
of it.
We see the dead.
Right.
Like, he's gonna see the dead. Everybody sees the dead who watches this show.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're
that
seeing a lot.
last like full scene of them in the helicopter, Okafor telling him, "You don't really talk much these days." Trying to talk through, I don't know what this new world is going to be, but at least you're here. We're going to be doing this new, whatever it is his plan is to take over from within.
Mm-hmm.
And this part, I had to rewind because I was like, wait, I blinked and then he was bleeding.
Right. It's like all of
And then
where
I
did
blinked
that come
again.
from? Was that from behind or from the front?
I mean, it's
from the
something,
front.
something popped out. It was like alien. Something popped out.
Like
And I don't know
smoking?
if that was something like that was part of his uniform and hooked to something
I
else.
thought
And
it got shot into the helicopter into
like
him.
a projectile.
Yes, that did happen, and maybe it came in his
like
back.
explodes, right? Because
And
then
then
like guts go
exploded.
everywhere.
Yeah, and there was blood everywhere.
Everywhere.
So he did get hit. And I don't know if he was the only person who got hit. And then
It seemed like it.
Rick has to bring down the helicopter.
But I was like, who the fuck shooting? Who
I know,
shooting
and this
Well, we
down?
find out. We find out who's shooting.
Well, because I thought about that. The one thing I noticed about the projectiles is that they were small. So it seemed like they kind of adjusted for the fact that they don't have as much technology where they can propel so many big objects.
We find out exactly who's shooting.
But
Now, do you think it was Michonne? I don't think it was Michonne shooting.
I don't think it was her. I think it was the people she's with. I think it was her bunch that she's with now. And we'll find out. Like, this was a Rick episode. I guarantee you this next episode is going to be the Michonne episode where we find out how she got. But that's who was shooting, was her people. Because once they're crashed and he's out, that's who's there.
And then
they're killing survivors.
This is where it annoys me, where I immediately realize, so Okafor is done. You build him up. He gets a little interesting. He's got some type of story. You think Rick kind of has a partner. Maybe we didn't even know none of that shit. None of that shit. The greenhouse didn't matter. The dog tags didn't matter.
We're never going to find out. Yeah, we're never going to find out what's so important about Millet.
Yeah, exactly. None of that shit even matters. I'm like,
yeah, he was a really good character, and I'm sorry to see him go.
I mean,
I look forward to more.
Because it got Rick to where he is.
Right.
Yes.
But we're not going to get any more of him, which is kind of sad.
Right. Yeah. But we'll see Thorne again. We will. Maybe she'll be sent on a mission after because the helicopter went down or something like that. We're going to see Thorne. Thorne is going to be part.
To go find the survivors.
Yeah,
or something.
she's going to be
to go find Rick, because Rick's not going back after he found Michonne.
Right.
Their helicopter crashed, so I'm sure that they're going to
They're not going to be able to go nowhere, and they're going to have to send another helicopter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Thorne's going to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's then we're at the crash now. So the old dude is blown the fuck up. Rick and the two survivors jump out and they're running, trying to get away. They got guns, but they forget to shoot them for some reason. Like, they forget how to run. They all fall down. The landmine goes off. They can't get up to run. Nothing works. Their legs don't work. Their trigger fingers don't work. And then somebody comes up and just starts killing them from behind. Yeah.
Right. And that
Rick has no flee reflex whatsoever. Rick is crawling like a baby. He has no survival instinct. The Rick that we know has no survival instinct that someone can literally. crawling. I'm like,
I feel like they're
that
stunned
drives me
because
crazy.
They
'Cause
did
first
just
of all,
go
they
down in a
crashed.
helicopter. Yeah, they
They
just had
crashed. So
helicopter
that's
crash.
The
traumatic
fact
in
that he's
itself.
moving is a
And
problem.
then they were all in that little grenade thing that blew up.
Yeah.
So they got
So that's
thrown
going to be
another
disorienting.
couple of feet. So
Yeah.
give them a second to kind of get their stuff together.
Yeah, I can allow for actually in a real helicopter crash they wouldn't have lived.
No.
That's the part that's not real. Is they,
Well, it depends
helicopter
on like,
crashes
how
don't
close.
go well.
No, they don't.
So, but it makes sense to me. It's like, okay,
The thing
you
that
did.
really no, that didn't bother me. The part that did was she's killing everybody else right away, but she didn't kill him right away.
Yeah,
Right.
she took his
Took his mask off.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Which had to happen because we had to see it. So it would have been different, interesting if they would have shown her doing the same thing for all of them.
And I immediately knew that was her. I was like,
Of course.
my
Oh, yeah.
instinct kicked
Of
in.
course.
I
The sword.
immediately knew before they even showed anything. I was like, oh my God. I'm so glad they didn't string it out for them to meet.
Mhm.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
so glad they met it that first episode.
And it turns out the whole first episode was set up for that.
yeah.
The whole episode was a setup, and it was a good setup, but it was set up for that. And I liked like how different she's in an army. It's clear, but like
Right.
they don't have what this army has, and her armor, just everything she's wearing. That thing. Y'all ever watch Mystery Science Theater? And they had that puppet crow that had the gold thing on his head. That's what her mask looked like to me. It was just like made of some wires, and I thought it was interesting because she has definitely not ended up with. She's not in a city. She doesn't even look like she's in a place like Alexandria anymore. She's with a resistance group of some kind, and I'm digging.
And
Finding
she's
out
on the
more.
rampage. She's on the rampage. And I think that's where I thought I would see Rick. Like when I say he seemed so docile at the beginning, like he, instead of killing the dude and chopping the dude's torso off, the belt, he chops his own arm off. To me, I remember Rick being what Michonne was, on a rampage, just bloodlust, just whatever. I got to kill these people. I got to get this done or whatever. So when Rick wasn't like that, he just seemed so more docile than what I remember.
He's like,
and then she's totally opposite. She's like the animal we remember. Like she's killing people. I don't care what your story is. You could have been kidnapped in this helicopter. I don't even care. You could be here against your will. That is not my job. That is not my business. I'm killing everybody, you know? And I think that's what I wanted to see from Rick.
I could totally see how why he is the way he is now. He's not in his right mind. Even before he joined the force, he was especially not in his right mind. He is beat down. If you think about everything he has seen, everything he has had to do up before the point where he was separated from Michonne. I mean, just seeing Negan beat Glenn and Abraham to death, like that's enough. But it did, like he would have these spells where you know, when Lori died, he saw things and heard people on the phone, and which was kind of cool.
But I mean, Rick has had throughout all of the seasons moments where he went crazy, quote unquote, and he went on these violent rampages where he would just be, you know, just killing up indiscriminately. And I think that was part of what Michonne got out of him. Or
I hope she brings that back. I hope she brings that back to him.
He'll get it.
I think she took it away from, kind of two things. Like I can see both sides where she kind of helped calm that down in him, where he's not just indiscriminately that way, but he will be for his family.
Right.
Like
I want to see that.
Family.
I need to see that Rick come back.
If you go way back to the beginning of The Walking Dead, Rick didn't want to be like that. Shane was like
that.
Rick didn't want that
Shane
for
was
himself.
A maniac.
Shane, oh my God, I hated Shane.
I love Shane.
Oh God, I hated Shane.
I don't mind a good villain.
What is it like? Shane.
Oh,
and he really was not. I mean, I defended him a lot back then. He was a villain, but he wasn't, because he made sense.
They all make sense.
Like when Shane shot the fat guy, so the zombies would eat him. Like that's what I would be thinking too. It's like we're not gonna get out of this. Somebody got to live to tell the story.
One of us ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
You slow anyway.
And the thing is,
I'm glad I lost some weight.
This goes back. This goes back to.
You can run now, Alex.
Right, at least half a mile.
But this goes back to why zombie shows and movies, when they're done well, they're about the people,
right,
and the changes within the people. And yet, what Shane did for the character Shane was, it made perfect sense for him to kill Otis and go back. And when he got back to the house, he wasn't okay. He went in there, took a shower, and shaved his head. And I guess Shane,
Shane never. I mean, even though I feel like, I think we've had this conversation, not us, but like me and Sistah J back in the day, about was Shane, I mean, obviously Shane and Lori were having an affair at the very beginning.
Right.
Were they, or I shouldn't say obviously, we had a debate of, were they having an affair before the apocalypse happened?
I don't think so.
Or did it happen after?
It happened after.
I think it happened after too. And then he fell in love with her. And him and Rick were like this, but then when Rick came back, it's like he lost his damn mind. And that's when he turned a little bit into this villain. Although a lot of his ideals that he had that made him a villain, to me, it made sense to me. Like,
more sense in some cases.
And Rick was going to, like, there were things he was going to have to do, and he just wasn't there yet. He wanted to be true to his nature, which at that time he was a stand-up family guy, deputy, just like he was a good guy, who was, clearly a powerful personality, but not, he wasn't violent. He didn't
want to do that, but he changed quick.
I need them to bring Violent Rick back. I need them to bring Violent Rick back. If I must stay in this thing and be happy, I'm gonna watch it either way. But to enjoy it, I need Violent Rick back. I can't have
get him.
Pastor Rick.
Of course,
you'll get him. I think you'll get him.
It's episode 1, Rick.
Yeah,
and I do feel like they did a good job of making us realize this is what he was after 4 attempts.
Right. And
this is what happened to him. He was that Rick.
In 5 years.
They done beat his ass down.
Right.
Because he's been trying to escape for 5 whole years. And the most recent cut off his own mother effing hand.
He's coming apart. He's coming apart. He really, I mean, and think about it. He is living among people who are docile and happy to be that way. He's not going to kill them. It's not their fault. And really, it's not going to, I mean, the whole army is around. How many of them can he kill? So he's trying to get away in the ways he can think of, and it's not working.
Until he gave up and just said, look, I'm here now. I'm just going to be here.
And even right before, when Thorne comes in and throws another glass, he has that piece of glass, and even then, the scene from the beginning, and then when it comes back into the present, even then, he's thinking about killing himself because it's just, impossible. It's all too. He doesn't want to give up on that, on what he thinks his purpose is, which I guess it is, but it's not. His way of going about it is wrong, but he's thinking about, to the point where he draws blood. He's thinking about just checking out.
Yeah.
Because it seems so impossible.
Now, I guess speaking of that last scene, I just had this idea. I was trying to figure out in the first place why the helicopter was being shot at in the first place. And if I feel like it makes sense in that it just talked about Omaha going down, And it's the thought that it could have been Philadelphia's involvement.
Yeah.
They might have recognized that that's a helicopter
Yeah.
coming from the secret city or whatever, and that's why they were attacking it.
And they may know where the secret city is.
Right, and they might know because Michonne found up with them. They might be the people who survived in Omaha, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna get revenge." And Michonne kind of maybe
it has been a year. They spent a year, and you see that montage of them converting that place, and that takes a year. So,
and I'm all in, but bring me back when Rick gets violent. Bring me back on that episode.
You're gonna get it. Like next episode, I feel like you're gonna get some of that. You'll get at least some violence. You will get enough violence.
I want crazy-eyed, violent, bloody-faced Rick back.
We will give you enough violence to carry you along until Rick comes back in the way you want him to.
Rick episode. I would love to come back and talk about Violent Rick.
Now look, I'm gonna tell you, based on the comic books, I mean, they didn't attach a weapon on his arm for nothing. Like he did jump levels.
Yeah, I mean that's there for a reason,
right? Just not there yet. It's episode 1, Rick. Episode 2, episode 3, at least.
And it depends. I think the way we see him be violent is going to depend entirely on what the new situation is, because he has changed the ways that he is violent throughout the series. He only has those berserk, killing sprees every once in a while, and he changes the ways that he is violent and when he doesn't have to be, he doesn't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
He has to now. He got his chocolate kiss back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's time to fight. We the ones who live. Now.
Yeah.
And I love that last scene when she takes his thing off and then she takes her thing off and they're just staring at each other.
They both like back up. Like
I liked that they cut it off right there.
Yeah.
That there was nothing.
I'm so ready for the next
nothing.
Yeah,
ready for the next episode.
Cut it off. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. I'm very ready. It was a great episode.
And I enjoyed it.
An hour and a half, almost an hour and a half.
Yeah,
was it?
was long.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like an hour and 18 minutes, I think, something like that.
I was very happy to see a Walking Dead product that was so, it was just solid.
Yeah,
like the earlier seasons of The Walking Dead were. I loved the credits and the whole look of them, and they're different. They have some similarities to The Walking Dead credits, but they have that analog TV look, which I love. And,
I like the silhouettes of them together.
Yeah. There's just so much about this that I really liked. And I'm not even like, none of my favorite characters are like, my favorite character is not going to be on this one. I'm a Carol person to part, so the Book of Carol is going to be my thing, but like, I am totally in. I'm totally in.
Yeah. I'm in.
I've been hurt before. I don't want to jinx it, basically. All right. This is like every season of The Walking Dead. They start out strong and then there's a what the hell episode and it just kind of, falls flat like a souffle. So I just don't want to jinx it. That's all.
The Walking Dead got stuck in, it's like, okay, we go someplace and we fight bad people, and we go someplace and we fight bad people. And then we get some new people, and then we kill off some of the other ones, and then we go someplace and we fight some bad people. And it was the same thing over and over. And this is going to be going someplace and killing bad people, but the situation they were in didn't change much during the series itself. Even though they ended up spanning 10, 12 years probably.
Yeah.
They didn't, the situations that they found themselves in were very similar to the ones that they just came from. It's just different bad people, whatever. People with W's on their face or faces on their face or whatever.
That was a good, I like that little arc. The wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And Carol being a wolf.
I feel like this is similar to that because there's only, you have to have some kind of conflict and there's always going to has to be, since we have our core people, someone else who's against our core people, which is, of course,
now,
this military.
The sides are bigger. It's a different, instead of just people wandering around and with never being in huge groups. We never saw like a big old settlement in The Walking Dead that I know of. But now, I mean, there are cities, and we know that. And I don't think they even know that on The Walking Dead. It's like there are cities.
Mhm.
There are
Mhm.
cities
Yeah,
that are surviving, hundreds of thousands of people. So it's different. The setting that we're dealing with now is different. The bad guys are different. And Rick is technically a bad guy.
One of those.
Yeah, one of them. And Michonne's on the other side.
Yeah.
And and that's fine. Fight bad people here and bad people there. The thing is, like the bad people have to be interesting too.
Right.
Like they can't just be killed for the sake of kill. Like, oh yeah, they're terrible. Kill them. Maybe the first time, but after season 6 of they're terrible to kill them. Like, all right, come on, something different. The governor was interesting. Negan was interesting in the beginning. Alpha that lasted way too long. It's just if they put as much effort into the bad guys of that season, then I think it wouldn't have been as exhaustive. And people wouldn't have walked out like that.
But what's at stake now isn't just the lives of whoever we are in, wherever we are now. What's at stake now is the future and humanity, because we know people can survive, and it's going to come down to it's almost like communism and democracy. It's like how do they survive best? It's like we can keep them alive if we keep them locked in here and they never leave.
Yeah.
But that's not freedom.
But are we? Because like you said, there's secrets and secrets. So there's secrets in the city. And there's secrets of secrets in the city. There's secrets out the city.
Yeah.
So whatever happened in Omaha could happen there.
Right. Right. And if you notice, like they showed this map for a split second, and I haven't had a chance to go back and look at it in the credits. But if you look at it, there's some stuff around Austin, which is where they are, I believe, now in Fear the Walking Dead. There's like, there are details in different places other than what we've been dealing with in this episode. So I need to go back and look at that map because there's information there about where other people are. They're coming to find out, and it makes sense after a while that people would start. It makes sense from the beginning that people would be trying to survive in groups. In bigger groups, in safe places, and that makes sense with the city. It's like you get us all in here behind these walls, and we're safer. But it's what's at stake is people's lives and their freedom, and that adds something to it for me.
It's a different, almost going into a different genre because like I really appreciate like war movies and movies to where it's like it really is us or them. But at the end of this episode, I got a real feel like it really reminded me of Halo. I don't think as many people watched that show because they didn't have the video game connection. Yes, and that last episode was crazy.
Yeah.
But that whole series is 100%. It's us or it's them. It's like these crazy looking ugly aliens or us. And we really have no shot. We're not even supposed to have a chance against all this technology and spaceships and stuff. But we have these heroes, these Spartans,
Well, that's kind of like Michonne's side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're the Spartans, basically.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that it isn't just this tiny world that we're looking at anymore. We're looking at a whole ton of people and a whole new world of secrets and power in different places. So
I do like it. I just don't want them to make it unbelievable. I don't want them to make it so unrealistic. Like if you're going to make it this larger world and we have this larger stake to protect, then let's make it realistic.
Yeah.
That's not like people are going to be dying.
Yep.
Not everybody going to make it. Let's make
I don't even understand. I don't even understand who's fighting who and for what. Like, why would Michonne shoot down that helicopter? Like, I hope they explain that out more Like, who's fighting
will.
and for what? They're not fighting over land because, what people fight over is land and resources. They fight on one of those from what I can tell. So I'm like, what are they even fighting for?
I
Like,
think Michonne's group knows things that we don't know yet. We have not been told. There are things about the military that we don't know, and those are the things that makes Michonne's group want to shoot down helicopters.
That's what I hope makes sense.
Yeah,
I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And like Rick said, where do you go with the bombs? Where are you going that you come back muddy? Obviously, they're going and killing up settlements. They're killing anybody who gets close. Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even if they know it's there or not, I'm sure they're killing up.
Yeah. Because they can only hold so many people.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're doing that. And so if we see you out there, we're going to get y'all before y'all can get us.
Mm-hmm. And so Michonne's group knows that happens, and they know that helicopters do it, I'm sure.
Well, I'm glad they're fucking acknowledging the helicopter because shit, we were in season whatever the hell that was. Mm-hmm. Everybody sees, you can't not go and see this fucking helicopter and nobody says nothing. Nobody says, hey y'all, I saw a fucking helicopter.
Lovely weather we're having.
Nobody says boo, nothing. And I'm like, really? Let's go find out what's happening there. That would have been an interesting trek.
I think that Michonne has noticed some helicopters.
Well, yeah.
I think that their people have noticed some helicopters.
Yeah, they know.
Some very low-flying helicopters that don't know. Obviously, they don't know they're at war in the helicopter because they're just like.
But they have to. There has
not
to
on alert, telling old stories, not even on any kind of alert or anything.
Somewhere up, I'm sure that Major General Beale knows about resistance groups.
Now, see, this is a good question. Well, I don't know if it's a question, but it's your opinion on, since he asked Rick that question, he obviously knows Okafor is up to something. Yeah. Do you think he sent them out there on purpose knowing that they could have got shot down?
No, I don't think so. There's no need. I
don't think so. I mean, that would be a smart play. I would say that.
Weren't they on? There was a purpose to the mission. It's not like they were just going. I can't remember what it was, but
they were finding the coast because it was some. Wasn't that when they were getting ready to have that big meeting with the head of the?
Yeah, it's that thing that they were working on the whole year. I don't know. I need to go back, but I don't.
Your comment, Alex, got me to that point. Like, okay, I'm sure he did know that there's resistance out there. Obviously, even maybe Okafor knows that there's resistance out there. They're out there with them bombs doing something. Who are they doing it to? We don't know. But they're out there doing something. So they have to know that there's some people out there that may not agree with their whatever they're doing.
But you get ambushed. I mean, you get ambushed. Yeah. So it makes sense to me that they'd be flying along and all of a sudden, pow. They're ambushed. And that's the thing about resistance groups. Obviously, Michonne's group is going to run away and hide better than the army. I can see them just blending in. It's like, okay, we've shot our RPGs and now we're going back in the woods.
Yep. And if they come again, we'll get them. If they bring somebody else, we'll go and get them.
Exactly. And then they move because they don't want to do the same place too much. I mean, there's this resistance group.
I can't wait until Michonne kills Thorne because I know it's going to happen.
See, I like Thorne.
She's been hanging with her man for 5 years. There's too many questions there. Too many questions there. The first time she throw a glass at Michonne, it's going to be on.
Do that.
I think that's right. Because she's not going to throw glasses. Quit throwing shit.
Well, I only have so many glasses now. There.
Okay, hello.
Oh.
The whole throwing glasses thing. That's another thing. That's a setup for Rick to do the almost suicide thing. So, and it does fit in. I mean, she is badass. The first thing she does in training is flip him over. Yeah, and that's
I want an arm.
That's true, but it's got a knife in it.
Probably still sore.
Yeah, that's true. But I do like her. I like kind of
like her, but I know
crazy.
Michonne gonna kill her. I'm pretty sure Michonne's gonna kill her. I'm putting my money on it.
What I really like, what I really like is when female characters, powerful female characters, come together and work together. That is my favorite thing to see, and I can see that happening. I can see some back and forth.
If they write it right.
Yeah, I can see back and forth with Thorne trying to figure out what she wants to do.
Right. I don't have faith.
But like, I feel like Thorne is, because we're going to end up with a cast that's not just Rick and Michonne. We have to have some more people. Thorne's going to be one of them, and we're going to find out. And evidently, there's a little person who's coming up.
I saw that.
Who is in the previews? Who is part of Michonne's group? So I think he's going to be with us.
So it's going to be interesting to see what once they reunite. What are we going to do now? Is Rick going to change back to where, okay, let's go home? Is he going to say, I got to go back and finish my mission?
They don't have a home. They don't have a home to go back to. Everybody that they were with is like, Daryl's in France.
Well, where's Judith? Where's RJ?
I don't know.
They don't care about their kids.
There was some talk about that in Dead City. The group that they encounter in Dead City ended up kind of trying to basically raiding the hilltop for resources from time to time. So they don't say that the whole all of Hilltop is gone, but one of the things is they did take Glenn's son, Herschel. They did kidnap Herschel. Okay. So that's the reason why Maggie left. So it is. They didn't answer basically if the Hilltop's still there. They've scattered about or whatever. But I'm assuming that they're still there.
In Alexandria, because that's where Judith is, I think, isn't she?
I have no idea.
So at some point, I'm guessing they're going to say, let's go back and get our kids. Or he's going to say, let's go get the kids and go back to Philadelphia because they have a safe place. And so there's going to have to be some kind of, once they get through the, I love you, you're here, you're alive, all that.
But the military's going to be after him. They're going to be trying to kill him and her.
Well, I don't think they're going to try to kill Rick. He got shot down.
And Trash Bitch is going to come back at some point. Trash Bitch with the bad bangs.
Yes, yeah.
So I feel like they're going to try to rescue whoever is alive, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The decision's going to be, where do we go from here? Do we go back to where we were trying to live before? Do we try to make a new life here in Philadelphia? Because I'm now the head of the CRM.
But he's not going to be that anymore. The first thing he's going to do is run off with this woman and talk because that's his wife and he hasn't seen her. They're going to want to kill him. The military is going to want to kill him. Or it might be that he manages to kind of sneak himself back to being with them, but still be in touch with Michonne.
And the person that's been protecting him is dead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that would probably.
That's why I'm leaning on they would probably try to kill him. Because if it was a setup on this mission that nobody remembers what it was for, and conveniently got ambushed, Thorne might want to finish the job. Because that whole thing about secrecy and stuff is like I know that Rick is also aware of what Okafor was doing. So if he didn't die in the crash too, and he told us his location before he crashed, well, let's go ahead and finish the job.
I don't think the crash was a setup. I think Thorne is a good guy, good gal. I think that Thorne doesn't want to kill Rick. Thorne is going in the future, as we move along.
I really don't.
They would, and we don't know. It could go a couple of ways.
But if he's fucking stranded and crashed,
but he didn't
try to escape. Now will they think he's trying to escape? And this is what happened. I don't know, but. I feel like at first they're going to try to rescue whoever is alive.
Right.
And when they, and depending on what they decide to do, him and Michonne, meaning.
Yeah. That's going to make the decision.
That's going to make
if he runs off with Michonne first, then they're going to want to kill him. But it might be more valuable for him to act like he never ran into anybody and for them to rescue him for the crash, go back. That's where we hook up with Thorne again. And now he's working with Michonne to take down these people because he's on the inside. So that's a possibility.
I don't think there's any way he's going to separate from Michonne again. I think they're like this.
I think he will. I think he will.
I don't think he's going to want to, but
he won't want to. But I mean, if you think about it, he is in a perfect position now to do the most good because he gets the intel on the people he's working for from Michonne's people. And if the people he's working for don't know that, and if he is able to continue to work with them and then meet secretly with Michonne or whatever, then that could be a pretty interesting storyline.
Who is he going to do the most good against? Like Thorne is set up to be the opposition. He was way too damn nice in this first episode. There's going to be a twist.
Thorne is girl.
I'm sorry, Locke. The old man. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I got my one name military people mixed up.
Major General Beale. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Well, who was Locke?
Locke was on Lost, which you didn't watch.
Sorry.
Y'all messed me up. I didn't even watch the show.
That was his character's name on Lost. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Yep. The same guy.
Yeah, same guy.
Yep.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, it's going to come down to, I feel like they're going to have she's going to have her perspective. He'll have his. Like, I can do more good if I stay there. She's going to be like, they're evil. They're bad.
I think it'll be her idea for him to go back. She has always been the more level-headed of the two of them. Like, there have been a couple of times where Michonne kind of lost it, but not much. And she snapped out really fast. She has always been more level-headed than Rick. And I think she's the one who's going to see what he can do in his role.
I kind of hate when they do stuff that people wouldn't regularly do, like separate in the apocalypse. Like I don't even separate from my kids at the mall. I'm like, y'all going to Macy's.
But think about it.
To Macy's. I ain't gonna be looking for you in this parking lot. So it's like you could slip and fall in the apocalypse, break your leg, get it by walker. Like it's just so you walk 3 feet away and you could die in the apocalypse. So I hate when it's like, I know, let's have a master plan. We'll meet back here in 6 months. And you don't even know if I'm going to make it 5 feet from here.
But so think about
for them to separate and split up, for them to be together and then get their ass back to Alexandria or whatever, it makes more sense than let's take them down from within. Like Rick's the grunt. Rick don't know nothing.
Think about this. Think about this. Think about what makes for the most interesting show. Not what we think would make sense, but what makes for the interesting show. So Rick and Michonne get back together and they go running for Alexandria. How is that different from anything we have seen in all those seasons of The Walking Dead?
And it's not. Do it.
And they may, you're right. But the more interesting, watchable thing to me would be, all right, now we're taking on the corrupt government, and that is going to require us to fall into these roles. And we know we're not separated anymore. They're not separated anymore.
I hope they keep them together. I don't want them to separate it.
I hope so too.
They should have made Rick more of a higher up, because he still seems like a grunt to me. He don't seem like he got no intel. He don't know nothing. He just following orders. Like, what can he possibly do? He's just barely a soldier.
I don't think they gave him that last thing, the echelon briefing that they were talking about. The echelon briefing that Okafor says is it's the stuff that like none of the population knows, most of the military doesn't know. And I don't think Rick got that quite yet. But if he goes back and gets it, because he's supposed to, then he becomes extremely valuable in fighting the corrupt government. So I don't think, now that Rick and Michonne are together, if they have to be apart for a little bit, I don't think of them as apart. And I think it's far more interesting for them. They're two powerful characters who would be able to be without each other once they know each other is alive, and have seen each other. So, and they're both, I mean, Michonne is a person who would save the world too.
The issue, I think, here is that because he called it in, they know they were getting shot at, he can't go back with her. So if he wants to stay with her, he's going to have to run or he's going to have to separate.
Yeah. And
so there's no way that he can say, oh, here's my wife. And yes, by the way, the group she was with shot us down. And oh, by the way, I got to go with her and go get my babies.
Right. So
she's also an A. And she's definitely an A.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not going to go for that. So his only choice is going to be to separate or run with her.
And the more interesting of those choices is to separate at least some from time to time.
And we'll see which way they go as the season progresses. But
I want them together. I want them together. Yeah, I want them together, and I feel like they are together now. But to me, it wouldn't if they just start wandering off to Alexandria and killing walkers and people along the way, I'm like, I saw enough of this and there's no Carol. So I'm done.
See, it ain't like they can text message each other. Okay, we're going to separate. I'm going to go back.
Right.
How are we going to keep in contact? How are we going to?
They did that. They did that stuff. They've already done that stuff with Alexandria and Hilltop. They went to different places.
He can't even hide a phone in his mattress. He don't have no freedom. He can't walk anywhere.
He has more now. That
he does have more now at that new place that he just built up with Thorn. But it's still going to be challenging. So that's going to be
through a string on a can with a string.
He would have the most freedom if he let them believe that he was dead and ran off with Michonne.
Right. But it wouldn't be interesting. That would not be an interesting.
Look, that's not going to be the end of the story, obviously. No, but they're not going to split them up again.
But what are the options after that? What are the options after that? They put them back together. Now, what do they do?
We don't know what's going on in Omaha or wherever else. There's other communities. Michonne is in a community. They have a whole nother storyline there too.
I think
it doesn't have to be a fight from within. It could be a straight on fight.
I think that the more interesting option is that he is now a double agent and is informing the resistance as to things they didn't know and things we didn't know. That's what I hope I see. And I think they could make a really good show that way, and it'd be well written and believable.
I think if they had showed some way of people slipping in and out of the city or some kind of secret society within or something, I could see it. But they haven't showed. This seems like a tight ship that they run.
But
I haven't seen anything that would indicate
the interesting thing.
But Rick has been elevated. He was in a helicopter outside the city when he crashed. He gets to leave the city. Nobody else gets to get in a helicopter and leave the city.
He's not even in the city. They're somewhere else.
Right. But he left. He left.
Interesting, real quick before we have an email, so we need to get to that too. But real quick, along that line, remember when he went in the city to Esteban to find out where the tunnel goes and everything? Mm-hmm. Esteban said, it's not a furlough day. You don't have a badge to be here. How you here? Which is a good ass question, ain't it?
He didn't know why. He didn't know that Rick had accepted Okafor's offer to join. And he finds out right then.
But just because he joined, I don't know that gave him the right to just go into the city anytime he wanted.
He doesn't. But he's with the military, and they do leave the city. He's left the city a bunch of times building this place.
To what extent? They didn't just say, okay, well, just here's the key. Come on back when you feel like it. It was a mission.
They don't live in the city. They live on the outskirts of the city. They're never in the city. That's the point. The 6 years are working outside the city.
That's when you're a consignee. That's when you're a consignee. He is in a different place now. And Okafor talks about this, about having power. And Rick is gaining power. As he's done this for a year now when we have the crash, and he has earned some trust, and the fact that people who are in the military leave the city is a huge deal. No one leaves the city.
But you're not leaving by yourself. You're with other soldiers. But you don't have time.
My point is, they're not even stationed in. They're not stationed in the city, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know where they are.
They're not stationed in it. They're on the outside because they're always looking at the city. They're always looking over that water at the bridge to the city.
I don't know where the
I
military
think
is.
though I think the tunnel's going to come into play. So your comment about him sneaking
I can see him sneaking in.
I feel like
that
could happen. We don't know yet, but I feel like it's going to be. They have 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so they're going to have to do something. Just 6.
Just 6 for this season. Yeah,
it was just 6 in Game of Thrones too. I've been hurt before. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm sorry.
We're getting.
We gotta get to that email.
Let's do
PTSD.
Yeah,
let's get to that
That's
email.
exactly what it is.
It is going to be interesting. We're going to have to see as the season progresses which of our thoughts come to fruition, because they do have just like 1 or 2 routes they can take.
Right.
The story once we get past the meeting and the reunion and everything.
Right.
So it'll be very interesting to see where they go. We do have an email. Excuse me, y'all. It is from Marlee. Hey, Marlee.
Hey,
Hi, Marlee.
Hello.
And her hashtag is #Rishon finally in all caps. Well, hot damn, they sure didn't ease us into the first episode, did they? They're just going to cut off a limb right at the start. Although limbs being cut off now seem to be a pretty common trend in the many seasons and shows of The Walking Dead. I don't know if they've done that. Have they done that in any of the other spinoffs?
Well, they cut off Herschel's leg.
They cut off that kid's leg who was stuck on a fence. They've cut off all kind of things. Lord. That was early on. That's before Herschel, I think, when Rick cut off the kid's leg. There was a kid who was part of the bad group, and he fell onto a pike fence, like metal fence, and it went through his leg. And instead of leaving him there, Rick cut his leg off. That's the first cutting off, I think. We saw Merle first, and then
remember the one group cut the guy's leg off and ate it. Like he woke up and they were eating.
Bob, tainted
meat. Tainted meat.
They did Bob dirty, honey. They did him dirty.
But he got to have the last laugh. Really,
that was the funny as. I don't think they meant it to be funny, but that was funny. That was funny as hell. Okay, she says.
And they all threw up. That was what was great.
It's too late now. Sweat got in there.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Because they were sweaty. That dude was sweaty later, so his ass was sick.
Yeah.
I'm going to start my email with this because I've seen a ton of complaints on AMC's social media posts about Rick cutting off his hand and it being pointless. It certainly does give us a flashback to season 1 where he locks Merle up on the roof and he ends up cutting off his hand, and reminds us of Negan's episode where he's got Rick's axe to Carl's wrist.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Anyways, I think AMC chose to do this right off the bat to show us just how much Rick was willing to sacrifice to get out. I was confused by the timeline in this first episode. Like, what was this first attempt to escape? I don't know, but it's clear they didn't want to show us every single escape attempt and in great detail. So this feels like AMC really summing up that this is how far Rick is willing to go. What do you guys think?
That would have been a funny sequence. Funny little montage of him escaping and being escorted back.
Montage of failed
What was that movie where somebody was in prison and then almost life. Right, he was trying to, I'm gonna fly on out of here. He just gets a plane, and show him getting escorted right on back.
But I mean, she's talking about something being pointless, and really, we don't know what's pointless until either the season's over or the show's over. I mean, there are other shows that I watch that there are things that I'm like, that's pointless. That's pointless. But you really have to wait and see. I mean, the point, it's like they need him to, this is him having that weapon hand is good for the show. It's good for the show. It's interesting. It's a new and different weapon hand than we've seen before. So that's the point. That's the point. And
Alicia has that hand on fear, doesn't she?
And
I don't
Aaron
know.
had a club hand or something like that.
Yeah.
The
Alicia has
thing with
a
the spikes.
spike on hers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can't remember who was
She
talking.
says they gave us a ton in one episode and it was good. Finally, the people have been waiting to know what happened for years, and I'm glad they just dug right into the story.
Yep.
What did you guys think about Rick's dreams of him and Michonne? We loved it.
Loved it.
We loved them.
Cute. I needed that break. I needed that break in between.
I thought, I mean, I loved seeing them together. I loved seeing Michonne as who she would have been before the zombie apocalypse. But I really loved that the dreams had coded language in them for the situation that they were in.
It's kind of like those Shakespearean plays where there's always like the asides, where they kind of set up the rest of the story, the rest of the poem. And so I appreciate it like that. I mean, in the context of me trying to hurry up and watch it because I was late getting to it, like, come on, let's get to hurry up.
Yeah, you're
but
like,
no, I appreciate it in retrospect though. So I can agree with that.
I love it. I love when stuff like that is done well.
Like, I know. And I think it made me snap into, it made me go, they didn't just end up on circumstance. They love each other. He loves Michonne. He's dreaming about her.
Right.
Like it ain't just a reflex to get back to them, to get back. It's like he's dreaming about her. That's like really a love story.
The dreams are really about not being where they want to be.
Yeah,
they mention that over and over, and she's encouraging him, because I really do think that between the two of them, she is the stronger of the two of them. I think she always has been. But, so she's the one in the dream who's doing, I believe in you. And he's like a love-struck puppy. And she kind of is too, but he's going to her for help. Can you read
like
this map?
Get strength from each other. So this is him wrestling with the fact that he can't get to her. He's giving up, but he didn't want to, but he's giving up. And so the dream of her is encouraging him to keep going. And I feel like that possibly is going to happen with her story too. Like she's going to feel like it's pointless and he's going to be, no, you can do it. You can make it. So
I look forward to seeing that, to seeing what the Michonne episode, the Michonne equivalent of what we just saw.
Yeah.
That'll probably be next episode.
She says, they are such good actors and they have such great chemistry. I miss them and I'm so happy to have them back. This show better not disappoint. We'll be talking about it if it do.
That's where I am. Yeah.
Somewhere in this episode, they talk about Michonne and Judith, but Rick doesn't mention RJ. See, that's what I said, Marlee. Does he not know about RJ? And I think we talked about that did he even know she was pregnant then?
I don't know. I need to go back and watch.
I don't think so.
Time jump. It was the time jump. And she just came back with a baby. We didn't even know about RJ. He just showed up after the time jump.
Yeah.
We don't know whose baby
think you're right.
First off, we don't know whose baby that is. I'm just going back to that.
The only indicator was clearly he was a mixed kid. That's all we knew.
That's all we knew. But all the black men get killed. So that's not white man.
That's true.
Well, I mean,
I don't think he knew.
Yeah. I think you're right. I don't think he knew either.
Joan is gonna tell him.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder where the kid is.
And Judith.
Yeah, because if she's out there fighting with the resistance, I doubt she goes home to the kids every night.
No, she can't.
You think Carol has it? Because Daryl is in Paris, so maybe Carol has the kids?
Carol kills children. So
I trust Carol with the kids.
At the end of the Daryl Dixon series, they do cut to Carol actually, the very final episode, and she's basically going to look for Daryl. So she's going. Hopefully, she'll end up in France too. I think
I'm looking forward. Well, I mean, the next season is called The Book of Carol. The next Daryl Dixon season.
Definitely not watching that.
Somebody's going to watch it with me. Somebody's going to watch it.
Not watching that. Now, I liked Carol. Let me just say this real quick because I know you love her, but I have to give it a sentient opinion. I'm not on the procrasty side of it. I liked Carol for a long time until I don't know what season it was. Everybody and their mama was on her ass like you could not escape her being someone's love interest. And I was like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
And then she was always the savior. Yeah, she killed a bunch of kids, but she was also the one that they would go to help save some. I'm like, can we have some other people in the mix? Like, why does it always have to be Carol?
Yeah.
Well, I don't hate her, but I don't want a whole show of just Carol. And I don't want a whole show of just Daryl either.
Yeah.
I would watch a show about Carol for the rest of my life, probably. But I understand what you're saying. I understand. I just happen to be like,
you're her demographic.
I actually am her demographic. Yeah. It's like middle-aged white ladies kicking ass. It's great.
And there's nothing, and you know what?
And that was great.
That.
Yeah. It is great. It actually is great for television.
It's too much.
You're right, like every season from like season 4 on to like season 8.
That's like, the problem.
What's Carol gonna do to save everybody? Yeah,
that's the problem I have.
She like I don't remember her like she saved everybody at the beginning of season 5, but you know, she struggled with how much violence she committed, and she had she had killed this many people, and I've just enjoyed her character arc. I didn't like the whole thing with her being married to King Ezekiel. I thought was weird.
That was weird. I didn't like any of that shit
I don't
either.
think she should have really been married to anybody. The relationship with Daryl, that friendship, to me,
the friendship
is so good because it's not a romance.
Right.
And it never has been. But it's like, aside from Rick and Michonne, it is the most solid relationship in the show. They've known each other since the first episode. So, I mean,
that's true.
I'll watch it.
I'll watch it.
Y'all tell me all about it when it comes out.
Tammy and I are completionists. We're gonna watch it.
I'm in. I can't get out.
You're gonna watch it too, Sistah K. You're gonna watch it too.
I can tell you right now,
you're gonna do it. You're gonna do
She's gonna be saying, she's gonna be minding the group of people who want to watch, who wanna podcast Carol.
Oh, definitely not podcast it.
Definitely
not. But what if you hear it later on? It was really good.
Just the commercial annoyed me. When I seen the commercial in between this show, I was like, no.
I am a very persuasive woman.
You could try.
She has a particular set of skills.
When I found out Daryl's ass is in Paris, France, I said,
I think that's weird.
It took me about 3 years, I think, a year and a half before I started watching it.
Yeah, like, okay. I will accept it and I will watch it. But France is really weird. Like France?
Like random.
Yeah, but random. You know, maybe
I won't go into how that came about. But
yeah, I don't understand that.
It was close to being believable. It was close.
Okay, good. Good.
She says, so does he not know about RJ? We don't think he does, but we're gonna have to go back and research that by the next episode. Okay. I don't want to write too long of an email, so I'll end with what I was most curious about. What did you think of the ending? Their faces when they saw each other. Was it just me, or did you see that? Did you see what looked like maybe betrayal on Michonne's face?
No.
Thank you so much for doing this podcast. Can't wait for the listen, Sistah Marlee. Thank you, Sistah.
Thank you, Marlee.
Thank you, Marlee.
Thanks, Marlee.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna say yes. A little bit, and this is just kind of
she backed up, right?
Right,
like the way
the throes of battle, basically. Like you're on one side, we know that this is the enemy, we're gonna get him, and then suddenly, you know, Rick is the enemy. Like
it's hard to pivot like that,
right? So it's gonna be a little bit,
but I don't think that's betrayal. I think that's just confusing. You know, it's like you're in the throes of battle. You know who your enemy is, and all of a sudden, it's the person you love the most in the world. And we only saw them for a couple of seconds. So what I saw was just total bewilderment on her part. On
it's too early to tell on that point because you don't know, what group Michonne was with, how close they were. Maybe they were from Omaha, and maybe it was Philadelphia that did it. And so, they're like, all these guys are the enemies. And like, oh, Rick, were you one of the ones that bombed Omaha?
Right.
There's a lot of questions basically that they're going to get into. Next episode.
Yeah, and I look forward to it. I like what we've seen, and I think that I I think they're going to do something interesting, which is like I am always in, like, even if they have to kill somebody I don't like, if it is for the greater good of the show, or kill somebody I like, if it's for the greater good of the show and it makes a more interesting show, a better quality show,
Yeah.
I'm down with that. That's cool, but
I'll
not
be
Carol.
I mean, I thought maybe the only one thinking that. Like, there might be one exception, I think, in your case. There might be one.
They could all get it. They could all.
They all could, and you know, if and I went through all of those seasons of The Walking Dead just hoping Carol wouldn't die, but I realize that, and we've all watched enough quality television to know that sometimes for the show to be really good, things have to happen that are horrible to us. There was, when I watched The Sopranos, which was long after it initially aired, there was an episode coming up in my watching that I knew what happened in the episode, and I knew that I had no business watching it. And it's when they killed Adriana. The episode's called Long-Term Parking. And so I loved Adriana. I didn't want to see her killed. And I knew that, like, I have a problem sometimes seeing people suffer in a certain way on TV. It just wrecks me. So I just didn't watch. I didn't watch that episode. I still haven't seen it. But I realized that what had to happen in that episode was necessary for that, you know, and I hated the people around her that made it happen, but it was necessary for the show. So I am realistic when it comes to, like, I really do. I want good TV. I want to see a good show that sticks with me, that I can talk to people like you about it with.
I do think that we're going to get that with this show, and I'm very excited that we got such a great beginning. And even though we're speculating because we have, you know,
right,
a little bit of trauma from previous seasons that we've seen how they've kind of done our characters that we love so much, but we have to, I do recognize that I have to kind of let that go and just enjoy it from this point forward and just hope that it's different, because we have, you know, they're actually writing some of the episodes, they're producing. So I'm hopeful that because they are the characters and they know the characters so well, that we'll get a slightly different path than we've had in the past.
Right.
And I'm just excited. I mean, I never thought I would say this. Like a year ago, I wouldn't have said this. Actually, 2 months ago, I wouldn't have said that. I'm excited to see where it goes. And yeah, we'll just see. We have 5 more episodes. I mean, it's going to be short and sweet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I really do. I feel good about it. And the other spinoffs haven't really interested me. I watched a little bit of them in New York, whatever that one's called, Dead City. I watched a tiny bit of Daryl Dixon, and then, you know, I tried to watch The World Beyond, but there were too many young people in it.
Ooh, y'all are
Too much
really off
angst.
on these kids, huh?
Well, I mean, it's like modern young people. I don't have children. I've never had children. And I hang around. I do know people of all different ages, but, like, it's not my world.
I think,
you know, I'm Gen X.
I think we're gonna. I'm just hopeful that we're gonna all come out of this season liking it, and I'm hopeful that they'll have more, and that's why we're having this short season.
Right.
Oh, that's gonna be more.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years of Walking Dead. I can't imagine the world post Walking Dead.
Right?
Somehow.
Right.
No. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Marlee. Oh,
I'm done.
One more point.
I'm done.
Oh.
Nope.
I was going to say thank you, Marlee, for writing in our only email for this first episode.
Thank you, Marlee.
Thanks, Marlee.
Thank you, Marlee. We hope there is a lot more next time. Our email for, no, it's been a long time, so I'm going to give you all the email for specifically the Walking Dead podcast is sstwalkingdead@gmail.com. We'd love to hear a tagline. Remember that day when we did taglines, y'all? We would love to have y'all send a voicemail about the episode. An email if you don't want to have your voice. I know some people don't want their voice on the show. And if you would like to be a guest host, like my lovely guest host here tonight, let us know. We still have some episodes to fill in. We might have one of y'all back in the
I want to do it again.
Dane us with your presence again.
Bring me when the violence comes. I'm here when the violence comes.
Okay.
You won't wait long.
I don't think so either. Before we end up leaving, I would love for everyone to go around and let people know where they can find you. If you have anything you want to promote and let people know that you're doing, please do. Starting with Alex.
Well, you're not gonna find me because I work for the government. I'm not even really here tonight. So
He's like,
right, you're a ghost.
Right, I'm a ghost. But that's me. I have been. I guess my main goal currently has been getting my wife and daughter to Italy. It's a school trip over the summer, and essentially, this just became the moment to where I was just kind of tired of saying no, and I recognized that that the benefits were so much more than me just saying we can't afford it. So actually was starting to raise funds. Like I did a GoFund Me and everything, and I had Zoe. Basically, my daughter just told her, we're not going to just give you the money for this. Like you're going to have to raise a little bit of money yourself. We want to see if this is going to be something that she really wants to do. You know how teenagers are; they will tell you they really want to do it for a week, a month, and then as soon as they get it, it's like never mind. So, but she's been working really hard. I'm so happy for that.
She'll have to send us her GoFundMe.
Yes. I don't even think about it. It felt so weird to do that in the first place. You see other people doing it. It's like, well, everybody has their own stuff, but we're very close to the goal. And I'm really thankful for everybody.
Definitely send me the link. And, we do our Share Your Shit Saturday post. Alex, come on now.
I don't know.
Let us help get the baby to Italy. Come on now.
Oh,
put that in there. Right. Go find the last thing, put it on there, and I'll tag it on there so that we can let people see it so we can donate. I'll definitely donate.
Y'all. I appreciate that, y'all. And she is going to do a thank you. Kids don't like to do thank you notes and stuff at all. So we're going to do a thank you song together, I believe.
Oh, awesome. Really?
Yeah, I used to sing back in the 10 years ago.
All right, we get to hear your voice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
But that's it. That's all I got.
All right, Miss Sistah M.
So, I am, or I was in a previous life. Well, I am a musician and a filmmaker and an editor, and I had to take a 5-year break to take care of my mother. Come back home to Alabama and take care of my mother. And I'm just now starting out on projects again, so I don't got anything new. But if anybody wants to email me at hyperfocusproductions, that's all one word, hyperfocusproductions @gmail.com, then I can send you to work that I have done, music videos, abstract films, real films that I've done, like, editing and stuff for. So I will be doing more of that in the future. This is actually my first AV related experience in 5 years. So this is a good way to shove me back into the world of entertainment. I know I needed it.
After 5 years,
this was perfect. This is perfect. I mean, I just stopped 5 years ago, so now I got to find out if I can still work the software and stuff. But I'm gonna be doing some music and some film stuff, and hyperfocusproductions @gmail.com. My name's Marlee McLeod.
Physical connections here.
Awesome.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I'll help you with your song.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of things. So my kids own a print store, so it's anything you need to promote yourself or your business, backdrops, step and repeat, business cards, flyers. Basically, it's a full-scale print shop. Mm-hmm. Shirts, embroidery, anything at all. So we have our kids run the print shop. Also have a cosmetics line. So this is my lipsticks. These are some new colors we're looking at.
Wait a minute.
Get the right. There you go.
There you go.
Cool.
We didn't talk about what we live and dip in today.
Yeah, so they don't smear. They stay on all day. Even this one is gloss, but it still doesn't come off.
Miss Tamara, how come this is the first time I'm hearing of this? I be lipstick crazy.
And the website is herlipsandlids.com.
herlipsandlids.com.
.com. Yep. So you can go to the website and see colors. We're about to replenish and put out some spring colors and update the website and all that. It's been, with everything going on, it's crazy. So I don't really promote it like I need to. So I need to get back into promoting and things like that. But this is a start. So these are like some colors. And like I said, they don't rub off. I've had them on my hand the entire show. And so check us out, herlipsandlids.com.
Awesome.
And also message me on Facebook or in the group, whatever, if you need anything printed, promoted, business cards, flyers, backdrops, flags, car magnets, anything. Cups.
That's awesome.
Anything.
Cool.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I thank you for inviting us. We enjoyed it. I have been waiting all my life to get the call to be on the show.
Me too.
I can die now. Like, I can die.
Me too.
Doesn't get any better than this. I've been waiting for the call, and the call came, and I stepped up. So
you did. All of y'all did on our first episode. Hats off to all of y'all. And shoot, quiet as it's kept, I feel like I'm brand new too, because it's been a while since we've done this together, and it's a lot of fun. And I thank you so much for being on our first episode back. Thank y'all so much for being our first guest host. Thank y'all out here, Sister Speak family. Thank you for sticking with us all these, almost 18 years of podcasting. We are back for this episode, for this show, The Ones Who Live. We hope to hear from you. SSTwalkingdead@gmail.com. Send us your feedback. Send us your taglines. My most favorite part of all of our shows is it's everything, really. But the tagline section where I get to hear all y'all's voices on the podcast and all the voicemails and emails on the podcast along with all of our commentary is my favorite part. My absolute favorite part. So thank you so much. Please send those in. We will be here next week with a few new folks as guest hosts. We hope you join us. That is it for now. I am Sistah K.
I am Brother Sistah Taxman. What did I say last time? I'm sorry.
I am Sistah M of House McLeod.
Sistah Tam.
We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Don't get bit.
Yes.